All right. We are back with another episode of the podcast. So, before we get into everything, I definitely want to thank everyone who has subscribed to the channel since our last podcast. We've now had about 30 new subscribers in the last like 5 weeks or so. Yeah, pretty cool. So we're at 65 subs right now. I'd say our next goal is probably going to be 100 subscribers. So hopefully, uh, I'm kind of aiming to like have that goal done by the end of June, which should be easily attainable considering the pace we're on right now. But yeah, thanks to everyone that subscribed over the last 2 weeks and obviously even before that. But with that being said, we will get right on into things because there is quite a bit to talk about. So, first up is just kind of like probably the biggest news that's come out over the last couple weeks, and it's going to kind of influence a lot of the other things that we talk about. And that particular bit of news is that the Writers Guild of America is now on strike, which I'm sure you guys have probably seen. So for those of you that don't know anything about the situation, we will briefly go over some of that stuff real quick. And essentially, it all comes down to money, I guess, as it says in this article here. And says the guild were unable to come to acceptable terms with the Alliance of Motion Pictures and Television Producers. The former was seeking a new contract that would increase pay and benefits for writers by $429 million over the next 3 years, only to receive an offer of $86 million in return. So that is quite a bit of a gap between the two sides and what they are both seeking, I guess, in terms of the deal. And the other thing too is that one of the things in like the WGA's deal that they were trying to work out is to stop future projects being written by AI. That's kind of a thing that's starting to become, I guess, bigger and bigger nowadays. But yeah,
getting into these contracts.
So that was one thing, I guess, too, that they wanted in there for the contract, to prevent AI from being able to, steal jobs from, actual human writers and whatnot, which I think is understandable for sure. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens. But as for what it means, pertaining to what we're going to be talking about today, unfortunately, since almost every writer in the industry is now on strike, a lot of, future upcoming projects, both movie and TV show related, have been put on hold because, well, if there's no one that's going to be able to write, said project, then there's nothing they can do. Like, they can't move forward. So, yeah, unfortunately, a lot of stuff has been put on hold indefinitely, at least until this strike is over. So, yeah, we'll have to take it day by day and see what happens. But as of right now, it's tough to say, how long this thing is going to last. The last writer's strike to happen lasted, as it says here, for 100 days. So hopefully this one doesn't last as long as that, because if so, then yeah, a lot of stuff is probably going to get pushed back by quite a bit. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that is like the very first, probably like the biggest bit of news that's come out over the last 2 weeks that I just wanted to go over first to get out of the way. So now we will be transitioning into the Star Wars segment of the podcast, and yeah, there's some stuff to go over. And the first of those things is that apparently Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy kind of hinted that for future upcoming Star Wars films, they want to adopt the release method of like the James Bond films, in that because those films, like she mentioned, are only released like every 3 or 4 years. So I don't necessarily know if it means that that's what they're aiming for, is to release Star Wars films every 3 to 4 years. Because the biggest point she made was that they don't want the pressure of releasing a film every year. Um, which I mean, if you look at Marvel, they're literally releasing like 3 or 4 films a year, no problem. But that's neither here nor there. Um, but yeah, I guess they just, long story short, they want the time to make sure that the movies are as good as possible before they're released, without the pressure of having to release them every year. So she's basically just saying that, they're kind of looking at maybe adopting the James Bond release method, which would then mean, we probably won't be getting future Star Wars films for like 3 to 4 year intervals, essentially. But yeah, we will we'll see if that actually turns out to be the case. I think probably not. I think that's a bit too long. I feel like, fan anticipation is going to catch up to them, and it's just and plus, I mean, based off the next thing that we're about to talk about with this as well, like they just have so many Star Wars movies that are in various stages of development. Like there's just no way that they can get away with releasing them every 3 to 4 years. Like they would, there's just no way. So we'll see what happens. But with that being said, in the same interview, she also gave updates on some of the other Star Wars movies that were mentioned, or I guess confirmed like a while ago, but weren't given updates at the recent Star Wars Celebration event. So some of those projects are apparently the some type of, I guess they didn't say, oh, it is a TV series based off the Lando character, with Donald Glover returning to play him, is apparently still happening, according to her. I think that's probably not going to be the case, but nonetheless, she claims that it's, they're still trying to get it done and get it out there. And the other thing that I also think is very unlikely is she says that Rogue Squadron is still on the books as well. That was the Patty Jenkins movie, or I guess it was supposed to be, about the Rogue Squadron, like pilots and whatnot. But yeah, again, I think pretty unlikely both of these projects are going to happen, just because it's been so long since they've, kind of announced them. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But according to her, they're still on the books. And then the other two things are that, they announced a while ago that Rian Johnson was going to be given his own Star Wars trilogy rather. And, that was what, like 4 or 5 years ago now, I think, that they said that. And we have not heard any type of update on that. And apparently her excuse for that is that, as he's getting more and more successful in the industry, it just keeps getting pushed further and further down his priority list, I guess. But she says that one day we'll figure this out and that they still want it to happen. So again, I think pretty unlikely given the amount of time that's passed, and the fact that he hasn't even probably thought about it, to be honest, considering all the other stuff that he's currently working on. So yeah, we'll see. And then the very last thing is she said that Taika Waititi's Star Wars film is also still happening and that he's still working on it. It's just that, her words, not mine, he's been slow in the writing process for the movie. And yeah, she said essentially he just needs to finish the third act of the script, and then
I feel like this
it'll be good to go. But
trying to push blame on
Oh, for
everybody
sure.
but themselves.
Well, ask Kathleen Kennedy for
Like, I get it. Like, he may be still working on a script, but like, maybe if you made it a priority and things didn't come out saying that it's not going to be a thing, like, it just seems like they're unsure about what they're doing.
Oh yeah,
Like,
they for sure are. Yeah,
they're just like, yeah, we got all these movies, pre-development. Who knows
exactly.
if we're gonna make them? They
Yeah.
said we are, but yeah, no, I don't know.
Yeah, well, you can definitely tell by her quotes for most of these projects that she's like, yeah, it's still happening, it's just these like these creative artists, they're just busy, whatever, like, it's not a priority, or, in the case of Taika, they're just taking their time, yada yada yada. Like, but don't
It's like,
worry,
give them a date, like give them not even a date, like a year. Like,
yeah,
holy moly, like they don't even think they know like
no,
when
they don't
these
for
things
sure.
would release.
They're just kind of going like, well, it's like the first thing that we said, the first topic that we covered. She's like, oh, whenever they're ready, they'll be made. So I think like, it's like, well, if you go with that, like, I get it, like, that you want to make sure, right? Like, I get it in the aspect that you want, to take your time with things and make sure they're as good as possible. But at the same time, if you don't, like you said, put a date on it, and you're just like, oh, it'll get made when it's made. I think like some of these writers will literally take like a decade or so to make them. I mean, look at James Cameron. Like the studio gave him like all the time in the world to make Avatar, and what, it's been how many years since
It's been
since the second one came out, which, I mean, a lot of people liked it, to be fair, but
based,
right,
though.
yeah,
because he's had the scripts written.
True.
For fucking all 5 of them. Dear God, if we get all 5, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But
yeah, that is
fall
true.
asleep maybe. But that's.
Sheesh.
I can't say that I've watched Harry Potter so many times, but I still haven't seen Way of Water.
Yeah, I haven't yet either.
Not going on my way. I don't think it's out streaming. So like, I'll watch it when it's streaming. But
yeah, true.
Which sucks, because like it seems like a movie that like you'd need to go see like in theaters to
theaters,
appreciate it. But like, that doesn't make me a good movie.
True.
Like, if I have to go see this movie in a theater for it to be worth it, then it's not a good movie.
Yeah, I agree. Like,
but,
I think it can
not saying
be
that it's bad.
right, for sure. Like, I think a movie watching experience can be enhanced, right? Like seeing it in theaters, but like you said, like, if it's only
like the
Batman,
like I watched the Batman in theater for the first time. It was just a regular theater, not like XD or anything.
Right.
Loved it. I was like, oh man, this movie's so good. And then I watched it at home streaming. I was like, man, this movie is still good.
Exactly.
And then in streaming, I wouldn't say legally, but I knew a pirate. But and then when I went and saw it in IMAX, and that enhanced the movie that was already good.
For sure.
Like, it shouldn't be it's good in theater first and then go from there. It should be it's a good movie in general. But that's James Cameron.
Yeah, and, for sure.
That's just how he does movies. The same thing like Michael Bay. Like,
yeah, that's true.
He makes movies for the
big screen.
Goers, which, I mean, yeah, you're gonna make your money that way. I'm just probably not gonna see it in theaters.
Yeah, I agree. Well,
but enough of that tangent.
Yeah, it's all good.
Got the James Cameron song.
Sheesh. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that particular bit of Star Wars news. Now, I'm pretty sure I already know the answer to this, but have either of you finished season 2 of Star Wars Visions?
That's a negative.
Okay. Yeah, negatory.
Honestly, it's fine because I wasn't even planning on talking about spoilers anyways. But the main news here is that they've already confirmed a season 3. Actually, I think they even confirmed it like a day or two before season 2 even premiered.
Mappa's animating all of it. Woo, we did it, guys. We got Mappa.
But no, I've finished season 2, and honestly, I'd say that I think the first season was better. as a whole. I do think the first season was better. I don't know what it was. Like there's just like sure in the first season, right? Like there's a couple episodes I was like, okay, you know, it's you know, not really that great, but you know, it is what it is. But this one, I feel like there were more episodes where I felt that way rather than feeling like, oh, these are good episodes type
They're
thing.
worth telling.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong. There was like three, I'd say. Like there's like three like pretty good episodes in season 2 that are definitely worth checking out. But aside from
That is
that,
what they were going for. Pretty good.
yeah. Aside from those three episodes, yeah, it just wasn't for me. Which is, you know, that's fine. It is what it is. But yeah, like I said, the biggest news here is that they've now confirmed season 3 is definitely happening. Now, they didn't say, you know, if they're going to be adopting the approach that they took with season 2, or you know, they're just taking or they're hiring animation studios from all over the world, or if it's going to be more localized like the first season was. Yeah, they didn't say anything about their plans in terms of that, but I'd imagine it'll probably be like season 2 where, you know, they're just having studios from all over the world again. But anyways, yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's my initial thoughts on season 2 so far. But or not so far. I finished it, but yeah. With that being said, we now have some very quick hitter news that, you know, I'm just gonna quickly go through relating to Star Wars because, you know, they don't really require that much discussion in my opinion. But anyways, speaking of the Taika Waititi Star Wars film, Deadline has reported that he now plans on starting to film this movie at some point next year. So, you know, we'll see if that actually turns out to be the case, because I'm pretty sure that they said that he planned on filming it this year. Like towards the end of last year, they said that. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see if that actually turns out to be the case. But with that being said, Dave Filoni also confirmed that Thrawn, which again, this is something we pretty much expected to be the case, but he's now confirmed that Thrawn will be the main villain of his kind of like Mandoverse movie that he's going to be doing in a couple of years. So yeah, apparently they're going to be setting up Thrawn to be the next big bad, I guess, of the Mandalorian.
Imagine
and
name
obviously
dropping him, and then name dropping the book that he was from, and then being like, "No, we're gonna do Thanos again. We're actually gonna bring him on over to the
imagine
to the Star Wars universe. Josh Brolin's gonna play that role again."
Yeah, he just actually like doesn't show up at all, like in anything. That'd be pretty wild. But yeah, so
That's like showing Luke in Mandalorian, and then like only just seeing him. Somebody name drops him, we see the back of his head, and then we never see him again.
Imagine, dude, holy. But yeah, and then there's two other quick things, and those are apparently, so I don't know if you guys remember, but last week we talked about Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy saying that Kevin Feige's Star Wars film just, you know, was never a thing essentially because nothing ever got made for it. Apparently the Russo brothers said a couple days ago in an interview, or I think it was a podcast, something along those lines, that they were actually in early discussions to direct this movie. But, you know, obviously it never really, according to Kathleen, never really, you know, took flight, never really got off the ground in any way. So, yeah, but apparently if it was going to happen, the Russo brothers were likely going to direct Feige's Star Wars movie. So, I feel like that would have been pretty cool to see, but, you know, it's what it is.
No, dude, name one good movie
Can't
made.
really.
Can't even think of any off the top of my head, except some of the best in the MCU.
Sheesh.
And my number one favorite, you know what it is, right? I said it before.
Your number one favorite MCU film?
Yeah.
Infinity War?
No. This
Okay.
guy. Winter Soldier, dude.
Oh, okay.
Because that is when that elevated the MCU. Winter Soldier elevated just them as movies and the storytelling in those movies.
Yeah, for sure.
And it also, I mean, also the fighting. Like, we got some of the best fight scenes in that movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that definitely changed like the quality of MCU films from like that point on. Like it was just kind of like a shift in like how those movies are made and like just I guess like the tone of some of the movies as well. But
yeah, like it was like we can also do other genres. This doesn't just have to be superhero movies, the genre.
Right.
It can be a superhero movie that is also, you know, a spy thriller. Like it doesn't have to just be all quips and fight scenes. It can be a little more tense.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's what I think Secret Invasion is going to be.
Oh yeah, for sure. It not only looks like it kind of has like that same vibe, but a lot of people that have, you know, like reviewers and scoopers or whatnot who have seen the first couple episodes, they've said it's very clearly like drawn inspiration from the Winter Soldier. So, but yeah. With that being said, is there one other thing? Oh yeah, the last thing regarding that was one of the actors in the upcoming Skeleton Crew show, Jaleel White. He said that the show's going to premiere sometime in November or December of this year, which again, we kind of already suspected to be the case, but now it's more of a confirmation that it will premiere sometime the end of this year. So good news, I guess. Pretty good news, I guess. So the very last thing that we have for the Star Wars segment is we got to talk a little bit more about Jedi Survivor, the video game that just came out pretty recently. Now, before I say anything further.
No, I haven't finished it.
Okay. so you don't know what happens at the end, correct?
No, I mean you can spoil it if you want.
No,
it's
okay.
I'm playing through it right now.
It's okay.
But I'm playing through that and Tears of the Kingdom. But
Gotcha.
Tears of the Kingdom is taking precedent at the moment. But
yeah, no, I completely understand on that one.
I'll probably get back to it. Honestly, maybe tonight I might get back.
Sheesh. But yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, we can always pick up the discussion, you know, once you finish the game, and we'll talk more about it then.
Yeah, I should have it finished by the next podcast for sure.
But yeah, I guess just some like quick initial early thoughts from me about the game as I recently finished it, and at least the main story. I still have some side stuff that I still want to get done, but yeah, so before I get into the positives, obviously we have to talk about the I guess the elephant in the room, which is the performance issues of the game. But honestly, for me, like it wasn't too bad
on the Supercomputer 2000.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty rough though on day one. But once they came out with that day one patch, it was a lot better for me, like basically all the way up until I beat the main story. But unfortunately, you know, I do have to take that in consideration when rating the game, I guess. But everything aside from that though, I thought they took everything that was good about the first game and improved on it, at least slightly. Like I gave the first game like probably like around like a 9 out of 10, I'd say. But this game, like aside from the performance issues, I'd probably give it like a 9.5. I thought like the story was really good. I thought the combat was even better than the first game. Yeah, obviously like there's a little bit more open world, a little bit more of a free roam aspect, I guess, than the first game, which I thought was cool. And then everything associating with that, you know, like the RPG element of it was also like expanded on from the first game, which I thought was pretty good decision. But yeah, I mean, I just thought it was a good game. an improvement, at least a little bit, on the first one. Now, obviously, there is a couple other things, both good and bad, relating to the story, but I'll save I'll save that for whenever Evan finishes the game, and then he'll know more of what I'm talking about, and then we can have, I guess, more of a discussion about that. But yeah, those are my initial early thoughts on the game, I guess. Pretty good game.
Pretty good.
But yeah, that is going to wrap things up for the Star Wars segment of the podcast. So now we're going to be getting into some TV show / movie related news that's come out over the last couple of weeks. And it's going to be a little bit shorter than our normal segment for the TV / movie stuff, just because, one, there hasn't been a whole lot of stuff regarding that, and two, there's a crazy amount of Marvel and DC stuff that's also come out, so I kind of had that take precedence over anything else. But anyways, with that being said, Ben, do you want to take over?
Sure. So 20th Century Studios is rumored to be developing a Planet of the Apes TV series for Disney Plus. That is very interesting, and I wonder
if have an Andy Serkis do it.
I was just gonna say, I wonder if they're gonna have any of the theatrical actors for the movies show up for these.
Timing wise, they're working on what's it called? I can't forget what the sequel is called.
Land Before Time?
Yeah, but Andy Serkis confirmed that they're working on another Planet of the Apes movie, and I don't remember what that was called, but it sounded cool. But I'm all for Andy Serkis doing more War of the Worlds, doing more Planet of the Apes movies, because those are always good, and it's cool seeing him go from just the original mocap actor to actually helming and directing.
Okay, so
I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, I have to interject here really quick. Andy Serkis is not involved in that new movie that's coming out.
He confirmed it, though.
No, it's because it takes place after his character dies.
It doesn't.
So it's like a sequel, Caesar is dead. So yeah, he's not going to be in the movie. But now he might. Now he might be involved as like a motion capture consultant, and stuff like that. But yeah, as far as we know, he doesn't have an actual role in the movie. But yeah, that movie's called Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I can't remember if you said that or not, but apparently the rumor is that this show will tie in with the new movie that's coming out. So, and I think they're either in the process of filming the movie, or they just recently finished filming the movie. So yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be that much longer of a wait before it comes out, but that's it. That's all I got.
I guess it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out, and I don't know why Andy Serkis wouldn't be a part of the series.
Yeah, I was hoping they would at least cast him in another role, but I don't know. As of right now, it doesn't look like that's the case.
I didn't want him in the movie. I just wanted him to fucking direct it.
Oh, yeah, no, I can't remember who the director is, but
I'd be for it if he was directing it.
What's that?
I said I'd be for it if that were the case, if he was gonna direct
yeah, for sure,
in some kind of way.
Apparently it says right here that the movie's actually coming out in May of next year, by the way. I did not even know that, but there you go.
Doubt.
What do you mean? They just finished filming.
They finished filming?
They either just finished or they're close to being finished filming. I can't remember which update I saw, but yeah, they've been filming it for like a couple months.
Hmm.
All right, dude. Well, when it doesn't come out in May, I'm gonna sit here and be like, "Hey, I told you."
Hey, I'm just saying what they're saying. Like they specifically said it's coming out in May, but yeah, I mean, I guess there's always a chance it could be delayed. But anyways,
Yeah, man, I think you may be throwing me some words I may not be able to pronunciate, but
okay.
going on to the next show we're talking about here, showrunner Andy Muschietti, let's go with, reveals that the It prequel series, Welcome to Derry, has officially started filming. Pennywise actor Bill Skarsgård claims he won't be returning as the character in the show. Interesting.
Yeah, so that would be kind of a disappointment, not gonna lie, if he's not in the show. I did see that some scoopers are claiming that he might actually be in the show, and he's just kind of, saying he's not, but he himself says that he's not in the show, nor have they, said anything about it. But I don't know. Like, I don't really know what their plan is for this show, to be honest with you. Like, we know it's a prequel to the movies, and that's going to show the origins of Pennywise, but, like, I don't know if it's going to be one of those things where, like, we don't see him until, like, the very end, and, like, or, like, if he actually is going to be, like, one of the main characters, and if that second one is, what's actually going to be happening, I don't see why they wouldn't get Skarsgård to come back as the character, unless he has like a different form or something like that at first, and he's trying to figure out like what he wants to be or something like that. I don't know, but it's definitely interesting for sure.
It's weird because if they're going to the origin, that's gonna be hard to do because I'm pretty sure he's like a primordial being.
Yeah. So, like I said, I have literally zero clue as to what their plans are for this show, and anything remotely about what the story is going to be. But yeah, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. It would really, like Evan said, like, he's a primordial character for that whole thing. He would have to, he would have to literally be there in some fashion. I mean, even if they referenced him.
Like, I could see
something.
him, like, maybe, like, the first couple episodes we don't see him, and they're, like, establishing characters that are in the town. But, like, I would much rather see a show that's based on his origin from his, like, point of view.
Right, exactly.
Like, how many times is that something that we're gonna get?
Oh my, that would be lit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but that's gonna be so fucking hard to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I don't. Hey, I hope it's good. I liked It Chapter 1. It Chapter 2 kind of sucked.
Really, you didn't like the second one? I will agree that it was definitely more of a miss than the first one, but I thought they did some things well.
Either, so.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I don't know. It's just something about them being kids that makes what they did like so much better.
Yeah, for sure.
Because conquering fear as a kid is so fucking hard. Like, especially the thing that you fear the most. And that thing is literally right in front of you, manifesting and trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Like, I do like seeing, like, they did a great job getting actors that fit the characters that the kids were. Like, I love that. Like, everybody they got pretty much was spot on, especially for, like, from the book standards. And, like, I didn't hate the book, but it's not one of my favorite Stephen King books.
Yeah.
It Chapter 1, or just It, was definitely, I preferred it. I mean, it was all one book, but the first half of it was much better.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense too now, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, because most of my favorite parts from the second movie were like the flashbacks than when they were kids.
Yeah, and
That,
like I don't know. Yeah, I'd have to watch it. It's been a while since I've seen it to like go deeper into it, but I
yeah.
just remember like there was parts that I was like, man, I don't know about this. Like the whole end fight kind of.
Yeah, for sure.
This is kind of a wild hot take here, but can you imagine if we got a it show, TV show, or a movie where we don't see it or that dude, and instead everything is filmed literally through the eyes of it. So you
Just a
follow.
POV series.
Yeah, it's a POV series, and we just watch how the shit like plays out.
We just see it from the perspective of the deadlights.
Yeah.
Right, dude.
Sheesh. That would be
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure it's been a long time since I've read it, and I haven't actually like read it. I've listened to it.
right.
I'm pretty sure he's like a god level being.
Yeah.
That like was around before Earth. Like, because
So-
he is the deadlights are him. Like that's what he is. Just what they see is what he manifests.
Right. Did he come from outer space or no? Am I
I
thinking of
think
something
so.
else?
I think so. I
Okay.
don't remember.
Far out.
Everything comes from fucking outer space. I mean, we came from outer
True.
space.
Yeah, true actually. I
Wait
just
a
meant
minute.
like from now on Earth. Like,
Can you
Yeah, for sure.
can you expand upon that? How did we come from outer space? I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna. It's short. There's evidence that scientists believe that the beginning of life came from bacteria on an asteroid that hit Earth billions of years ago, and that's like kind of what started the chain reaction of life. But who knows? I don't.
I really thought you were about to say boom, Big Bang.
Boom! Big Bang. That's Pennywise. He's the Big Bang.
imagine. But yeah, no, I guess we'll have to wait and see
That
what the
darn
show's gonna be,
clown.
but
Man, we spent more time talking about it than I thought I would. I didn't even think we were gonna talk about it.
sheesh.
We're getting deep. Anyways, let's move on from that clown.
Yeah, Josh.
So the Duffer brothers have revealed that the production on season 5 for Stranger Things has halted due to the writer's strike.
Hmm. Yeah, so
Which
Okay.
makes sense.
as I said earlier, there's a lot of things that
Let me
are what?
What?
Oh, I thought you said something. What?
Yeah, I said money talks.
Yeah, especially when they don't get paid.
I was gonna say what? But yeah, no, apparently I guess they had already started filming the show, so I thought it was okay. Like I thought it wouldn't be impacted by the writer's strike, but apparently they said that they're not done like writing scripts even though
Oh,
they've started
yeah.
filming. I guess they kind of
there's
just
there's
like
a lot of productions. Like
yeah,
that.
for sure.
Especially like when the writers are the directors
Yeah.
and like they're so close to because they've had it since day one. So
Yeah.
like that makes sense. Yeah, but they'd like come up with an idea while filming and being like, "That's actually better than what we had.
Right.
We should change this or that." That makes sense.
So yeah, I guess that
Not that I
was
like
right. I guess that was the reason.
Devastated by season 5.
Yeah, it's gonna be good, I think, but definitely probably gonna be pretty rough on the emotions. But yeah, there's I guess that's just one of the many projects that are, or I guess that have been impacted by the writer's strike. So
Yeah, I mean, who knows what's going on there with that, but
True.
So, another piece of information here for the next show is that the first full trailer for the upcoming Walking Dead spin-off series, Dead City, has released online. We know that the show will premiere on June 18th. Did you guys check out the trailer for that?
Yeah.
For which one?
It's called Dead City. It's a
Oh no, I didn't. Sorry.
It's just, I mean, it's crazy that with the different factions that were in Walking Dead, like how they never thought to like venture into a major city besides like its opening series.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I definitely think the premise is pretty cool. The biggest thing I wanted to talk about is like this like mutant zombie that you see at the end of the
like
trailer.
that's what Resident Evil shit.
Yeah, because I think didn't the last, well, I don't know if you've seen it, but didn't the last
Nope.
season of The Walking Dead hint that like some of the zombies were like evolving or something like that? Because there was that one zombie that was like he could like run and
Is
like
that
he was
zombie
like
parkouring?
it's like, I think he might be. And he was like a lot, I guess, more intelligent than the other zombies. So I don't know if this is like a continuation of like that storyline where like there's now like different strains of the virus now, I guess, and like I don't know, maybe like some zombies can
This one's the
kind of
T
evolve into
virus.
T virus.
You know,
Imagine.
it's crazy enough that you say that, but like, wouldn't it make sense though too? Like, okay, you have zombies and that whole like way that they started in that show, but like, at what point do you think they might merge the idea of what The Last of Us is doing and have like the actual mutated plant decaying disease merge with their like zombie world, and then you got a mix of those zombies and these zombies and maybe a cross between those two zombies at some point, you know?
Well, yeah, I don't think the franchises will ever
No.
like
I'm just saying. I'm
crossover,
just saying.
but
Like
I know, yeah, like
they're
you're saying the
they're
idea
getting
of
crazy
it,
with it.
yeah. Yeah,
But
I
like
don't,
that, even then, that sounds like you guys remember Left 4 Dead?
yeah.
Like it just sounds like
No, what's that?
they're gonna add zombie abilities in there and factions.
Sheesh. So correct me if I'm wrong, but
You're wrong.
they never said, well, I know they don't in the show, but I'm saying like even in the comics that it's based off of, do they even say like where the zombie virus comes from, like in The Walking Dead? Or like
No, I
how
don't
it
think
was
so.
made?
I'm sure they have. I could
I'm
ask
not.
my friend
They
Matt.
probably have, but I don't think they ever mentioned it in the actual TV series.
Yeah, I know that for sure they didn't in the TV series, but I was saying like even in the comics, like is there even like a reason they said, or
Which,
because I know the last time I looked it up, which was like granted a couple of years ago, but there wasn't like they didn't specify an origin for the virus even in the comics, so it was just basically zombie virus, just day one, that's where it started and that's where it picked up. But
the
yeah,
guy fucked a monkey.
sheesh.
okay.
I don't know about
That's how
that,
AIDS started.
Okay.
It's a
I don't know
zombie
about
virus,
fucked, but
I don't know how
definitely
true.
got contaminated.
I don't know
I
how.
don't know. Yeah, I'm probably fucking misinformation over here.
I don't know how true this is. And I would have to read into it more, but just doing a generic search, it says that one possibility is that this apocalypse started somewhere in a French laboratory. Now, what does that mean and how?
Okay.
I have no fucking idea, but I don't know. I guess, I mean, until I actually do some research about looking at the backgrounds and understanding the creators' thoughts on how the
Right.
apocalypse started, I guess the world may never know.
Yeah, I
There's probably
just
people out there that know, though.
yeah, probably. If any of you out there know, leave a comment and let us know, I guess. But anyways, yeah, that's all I got. Now I will say not to not to rush the process, but we might want to get through these next couple topics relatively quickly. there's,
Sure.
there's still
So
quite a
like
bit.
the last two things that I have here before we transition is that
Mhm.
the animated Transformers prequel movie, Transformers 1, will release on July 19th, 2024. Chris Hemsworth will be voicing Optimus Prime himself. Brian Tyree Henry will be voicing Megatron, which
What?
that is a wild casting for Optimus Prime.
For both of them?
I'm not
Yeah.
familiar
They're
with.
still alive, aren't they?
I'm
Yeah.
not
They might not have been
familiar.
for
Yeah.
a long time, so I guess they kind of.
I'm not familiar with Brian Tyree Henry.
He's
He
Fastos.
in Eternals.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He's also in Bullet Train
He's
as well.
also, yeah, and he's also Miles Morales' dad
True.
Mm.
in Spider-Verse.
The cop.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
yeah, that's. I mean, I guess just quick thoughts. Yeah, that's definitely weird casting choices around, in my opinion. Because, like you said, I'm pretty like. Well, I know Peter Cullen. He voices Optimus Prime. Like he's still
Yeah.
voicing him in like the movies and whatnot. So I don't know
I
why
get
they
it
wouldn't
though, because
just.
like he's kind of old, and
Whoa.
I guess they want. Well, they're gonna. I'm assuming they want to make another run at a franchise,
Right.
Yeah,
and like
that's true.
they would rather cast now than recast like 2 movies into like a 5-movie deal. But
Yeah.
I mean that shouldn't stop them from. Because like I mean fans will get it why they sound different if anything like happened to them. But
Right.
I don't know.
Because I
don't know
mean,
how board of director people think.
right. I mean, I guess it is a prequel. Like, it's gonna show like the origins of the Transformers, I guess. So maybe that will better explain it. I guess it's just because like it's their younger selves, if they even age. I don't even know if they do, but yeah. Guess we'll see.
And the very, very last thing I have here is that the Vin Diesel.
This is a
revealed that
wild one, but go ahead.
Yeah. Vin Diesel revealed that the premiere of Fast 10, that the studio now wants to end the franchise in 12 films rather than 11. Okay, here we go.
Of course. And you know what? Make it 13.
This gets better. Hold on.
You know what? Make it 14.
Dwayne Johnson has also been confirmed to appear as his character Hobbs in the upcoming film, despite saying he will never be in these movies again.
Yeah, well, you ain't got a fucking choice now.
Now that
Homie
now that
ruined the
Black
whole
Adam is
fucking franchise, dude.
Meathead versus meathead fights coming on.
That's all it is.
So as for the first part, I mean,
Fight this family.
we've talked about this before. I told you, I was like, if they can milk another movie out of this, they will. Like it is not going to end in 11 films if they have any say in the matter. But I guess now it's, he's basically all but confirmed that they are going to be doing a 12th movie after all. But as for the second part, yeah, it's actually kind of wild because Dwayne Johnson and Vin Diesel, for those of you that don't know, like they had like a huge falling out on the set of whatever the last movie that Dwayne Johnson's character was in.
Split up.
And he even said like publicly too, like basically long story short, that he was like upset with Vin Diesel and that he would never be in one of his movies again. So it's kind of wild how they got him to come back
Money.
for this movie, but I mean,
And also recent events.
yeah, yeah.
Family.
I mean, he like we might forget, but like The Rock was beloved by everyone.
Yeah, true.
And then all of a sudden, all these reports coming out, and pretty much, I mean, it looked like a hit job, but I mean, he might have been this way the whole time.
True.
Because you never know with these these famous people that you never fucking
True.
meet in real life. Everything's
Yeah.
polished before you see it. But like, even if it's not true, like that's the story that's being told about him. It's like you got to save face and do something. You can't
Yeah.
just be saying, I'm not doing this franchise. Like, bro, you literally just bombed DC into eternity,
Right.
and like in eternity, dude. Like they wiped the slate clean. They even have a really good Flash movie coming up, and they're even like, man, fucking
Fuck it.
Black Adam. I could have fucking ruined it for everyone just because he didn't
Yeah.
want to play a bad guy.
True.
But I mean, I like The Rock, but anyway, go on.
No, I was literally gonna say that's all I got for this segment.
All right. Well, Evan, do you want to take over?
All right, dude, speed round. All right, looking at
Bonus
Pedro
round.
Pascal, known as Joel from The Last of Us.
No. That's not
it.
him.
Nothing else.
Nicolas Cage movie?
Yeah, that one. Pedro Pascal has reportedly been cast in one of the main roles for Ridley Scott's upcoming Gladiator 2 film. I am still confused why this needs a sequel. But
the cast...
I really like Gladiator, so
I do agree with you.
I like Ridley Scott
On the first part, but I mean, the cast for this movie is looking pretty wild.
for sure.
So
Don't
far,
get me wrong. Like, whatever they're coming up with, I'm excited for. But like, I literally couldn't see like what a sequel would be.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much all we know is that it's going to take place like a while after the events of the first movie, but that's it.
I feel like at that point, just make a new movie.
That's true.
Anyways,
Yeah.
well, that's cool. I like Pedro Pascal. He seems to be all the rage right now,
For sure.
as they say. But like you said, we got a lot to go through, so let's go ahead and go through these. Up next is the first trailer for Dune Part 2 has now officially released online. I saw it. I don't know. Did you guys see it?
Yes.
Ben, did you see it?
No, I have not.
Sheesh.
As someone who didn't really give a fuck about Dune before the first movie, and then read the first book after the first movie because I was like super into it, I'm super excited for the second movie. I don't know, like from what they showed us, like the visuals are always going to be on par with him. I'm not even worried about that. Like, he makes the fucking most beautiful movies I've ever seen.
True.
I am interested, however, if they are going to change some things from the story, from the multiple books, because I think this is just the second part of the first book.
Yeah.
But in I don't want to spoil anything, but some wild fucking shit happens in the later books.
Yeah.
And the people you think they aren't.
How many books are there?
So they're not all called Dune. But I think there's like 5 of them.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me see.
There's a few. I can't remember the exact amount, but
there's 6 of them. Yeah, there's 6 of them. But they are all called Dune. Well, they all have Dune, at least on this collection.
right.
Known as the Dune Chronicles is what they're called. Okay. Good old Frank Herbert. But I thought that fucking scene where he's riding the sandworm was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how they do the rest of the movie.
Oh, for sure. And you can tell they definitely like cut it down a bit so they don't like show the full thing in the trailer. Like I feel like in the movie it's gonna look crazy.
Absolutely.
To see him riding the worm. But
Ben, did you ever watch Dune, the first one?
No,
You should definitely watch. It's long. It's a long movie.
maybe we can like all watch it sometime in like Discord or something, because I actually been wanting to rewatch it sometime as well.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen it.
It's also, that fucking cast is phenomenal.
True.
But that's all I got on Dune 2. Anybody else got anything to say?
Trailer looked great. Can't wait for the movie. That's the gist of it for me.
The first trailer. I actually watched it's like a teaser. But the first trailer for Yorgos Lanthimos' Frankenstein-inspired film Poor Things, starring Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, and Willem Dafoe, has released online. It's like a
Yes.
30-second teaser.
Yep.
But it looks dope.
Yeah.
It looks like a unique take on the whole Frankenstein thing, so I'm interested to see what they do with it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like we talked about the last podcast, his other, well, he's done more than 2 movies, but
I've only seen The Lobster.
yeah, the 2 movies of his that I've seen were both pretty decent, so yeah.
Yeah, no, it looks interesting, both visually and story-wise.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, the 3 main actors are pretty good as well, so.
But moving on to something a little less Frankenstein, a little more oomph. Carl Urban has reportedly been cast as Johnny Cage in. Okay, well you typed Mortal Kombat too, but in Mortal Kombat too.
That's funny.
Which I honestly I don't see it, but I love Carl Urban, and I think he could pull it off. So I'm excited for it. But I will be fucking pissed if we get another Mortal Kombat movie where we don't have Mortal Kombat.
Sheesh.
They mentioned the tournament at the end of the movie, dude.
True.
We're getting halfway through that movie. I'm like, wait, when are they gonna do the tournament?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't really comment too much on this just because I know next to nothing about the Mortal Kombat franchise aside from, like some of the main, aside from like some of the main characters, but
the Booster Gold of the Mortal Kombat universe.
Gotcha. Okay.
Except he's got a little more skill, at least in the later in the latest games. But
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, Booster Gold or Wonder Man, that kind of thing. Like he's a superstar and also a contestant in the Mortal Kombat. So
I mean, just based off that brief description, I could see it. Like I could see him pulling off that type of role, but
he doesn't look like him. But that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like, I mean, honestly, they could dye his hair blonde and I'd fall for it.
Imagine.
But moving on to another actor that I really like. Cillian Murphy, otherwise known as Cillian Murphy, will reportedly be reprising his cameo role as NCOM software design lead Edward Dillinger Jr. in the upcoming Tron Ares film. That's exciting. I would love to see Daft Punk reprise their role in making the movie good.
Imagine.
But I can't say that. The visuals were fucking amazing. And just the soundtrack just elevated the whole movie. But, that's cool. And now that he's like a much bigger actor, I'm sure he'll have a much bigger role.
Yeah.
Because he was you literally see him for like 2 minutes.
I was just going to say, correct me if I'm wrong, because it's been a while since I've seen it, but wasn't he only in it for like a couple?
Only time you see him is in the boardroom where they're launching NCOM worldwide, and he's the lead designer who made NCOM worldwide, like whatever that product is that they're selling. And when the main guy pretty much pranks the company and puts all their stuff, all their files and all the programs up for free on the internet, he's the one that says, you know what, just act like we meant to do it, act like we meant to give it for free, consider it a gift from NCOM, and that's about it. But he played it well. I like this character. I mean, I liked him playing the character. I did not like the character just because you're not supposed to like him.
So I don't know, I guess like how big of a role he'll have in the new movie, but I mean, just getting his character back is pretty cool, I guess.
I'm just interested. I've been waiting so fucking long for a sequel to Tron Legacy, which is technically a sequel to Tron.
True.
But I mean, I still got my booth engineer shirt for Tron Legacy from working at the theater. I do not know where the fuck they're gonna go with the story, and I'm worried that they're gonna try and go the whole Clue gets out route. Because then it's gonna go into the Westworld season 3 and 4, and it's like, that's where you lost me. Like, because you don't want the same thing, but you do want something similar.
Right.
Usually you want the same thing but better, which I think Tron Legacy was to Tron. But man, I have no idea where this story is gonna go. But I'm excited though. I wonder if what's her face is gonna reprise her role. Can't think of her name. She's like directs now. She played the ISO, the main ISO. That's gonna bug the shit out of me, dude. That's when everybody started to have a crush on her.
Olivia Wilde?
Yes, her. I wonder if she's gonna reprise her role at all. Because she was like the whole linchpin of the Tron universe. She's like the first computer-made thing with artificial intelligence.
Yeah, could be. Does she really like act anymore?
I don't know. I haven't seen her in movies.
I was gonna say I was trying to think of like the last thing that I've
doesn't
seen
mean
her
that
in,
she
but
doesn't.
yeah,
but,
true.
I don't know. I don't know what she's been in recently.
I know. I can't think of the last thing that I've might have saw her in, but yeah, I don't know. Other than Murphy, the only other casting that we know of for sure is Jared Leto, who's playing like the main role,
can
I guess.
Be a good or a bad thing.
True.
Wait, because don't get me wrong, Jared Leto has put in some phenomenal performances.
Yeah. Morbius.
Okay.
And then he's also done Morbius.
I think it just depends on the story, honestly.
It really does.
Like, or in the director.
Because I really like Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
His role. That was supposed to be David Bowie. But
Sheesh.
David Bowie unfortunately passed away.
Yeah.
And they got him to do the role. And I loved the way he did. It was so, like... It was very good to see him feel comfortable in a role.
Yeah.
Because Morbius... I don't want to talk about it, but Dallas Buyers Club. What was that old movie? It was like one of his first. Requiem for a Dream. That's what it was.
He was in American Psycho, right? Or was that someone else?
Yeah, I think he played one of the business guys in American Psycho. Actually, now you say it.
So he's got some.
Yeah, because he plays the guy that the main character hates, doesn't he?
I think so. It's been forever since.
Yes, he plays Paul Allen. That's right. Let's see Paul Allen's business card. Oh wow! Wow! But yeah, no. So like, he's hit or miss, and definitely mainly depends on the script and the story around him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for another Tron movie. Don't fucking blow it.
I was gonna say I'm definitely cautiously optimistic for sure, but
that's definitely
even Tron Legacy. Like, there's a lot of people that didn't like it, but it made made money. Like, not like Eternals, not like Endgame money, but like it made a profit, and I'm pretty sure a decent one too. But I feel like it was just ahead of its time.
For sure.
Because, like, you watch that movie today, and sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. We'll move on. You watch that movie today, the visuals still hold up.
Yeah.
Like, pretty good. That's just how clean it was. And then the soundtrack is one of the best soundtracks. It's up there with Kendrick Lamar's soundtrack.
Sheesh. Yeah, it was really good.
It takes the movie and elevates it to a different plane.
Yeah, how many Tron movies are there? Because I would like to sit down and watch them.
The first Tron, which is super old and not
Yeah.
that good. I can't say that. It was good for when it came out. The
True.
story's pretty good. But the visuals, man, you could tell it was like the pinnacle of like CGI at the time.
Okay.
Because it literally was like one of the first movies where they did artificial environments.
Yeah.
But I'd give it a watch. I'd see it at least once. But definitely Tron Legacy is where I think it hit its stride when it met the modern computer generated graphics with the same Tron story, sorta.
Yeah. And
But yeah,
there's
that's
going to
all
be a
I
new
got.
one.
Yep, doing it again. 12 years later.
Sheesh.
Actually, I don't know if it's been 12, but it might have been a decade, honestly.
It's been a while.
Yeah, and holy shit, it's been 13 years.
It's been a while.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
Wow.
I guess better late than never, I suppose. Unless it's trash, then they could have just kept it. But
Bring Garrett Hudlin back, by the way.
sheesh.
People didn't like him as that role, and it's the same. It was the same thing with Anakin in the prequels.
Yeah.
They just weren't. They just didn't, because he played the character. Like, you just don't like the character. Like, it's not the actor. The actor's playing it well.
Right.
He hates sand.
It's oh
It's
no.
everywhere. But yeah, that's all I got.
All right. Sounds good. Well, Ben, do you want to take over as we move into the Marvel segment?
Yeah. So the WGA picket line strikes outside of the set have caused filming on the new Daredevil Born Again to be halted for at least a week, maybe more. There has been some recent set photos that appeared, which had confirmed recent rumors that Kingpin will be returning for, will be running for mayor in the show. So yeah, dude, I'm my worst fear about this is that it's halted so much that I hope it just doesn't damper the show.
I mean, it won't. I don't think it'll affect the quality of the show, but it just might delay it. Like, it might cause the release to be delayed.
It probably won't, but there's definitely a possibility that it could. But I don't think it will. That's just a possibility. Like any show that gets delayed, like it could have some downgrade of some kind just because of the delay. It doesn't have to be like writing, acting. It could be like the CG
like effects or
studios that they
something,
were
yeah.
working with they can't continue, they can't finish the project because they already contracted out for another movie. It's like incidental shit like that could happen.
Right.
I don't think it will because it's Marvel and Disney, and they're pretty much just like, you're doing this or we'll kill you. But yeah, no, it's a not zero possibility for it to be downgraded.
Yeah.
Playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah, the story around this is actually like pretty wild too, because I guess they had like the reason why it caused production to shut down is because not because of like any aspect to do with the writing. I guess like the scripts are pretty much done. But I guess some of the crew members like on the set were literally leaving the set to join like the picket line protests like right outside the set. So
yeah, that will cause
so they just didn't have enough people to continue, filming. So they're like, well, I guess we have to shut down. And then that continued the day after, then the day after, and then it's so far added up to a week of them having to shut down because of exactly that. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't, cause any more issues, at least too much longer than has already been done, but we'll see.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. Going on to the next thing here, the Cosmic Circus is reporting that Marvel's plan is now to release season 2 of Loki in October of this year. Scooper, can we get some toast? Claims that aside from Sylvie, no other Loki variants will appear in the upcoming
I see
season.
that. Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's not the story anymore.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't really make sense for them to go to other variants.
Yeah.
Especially with what's happening. I feel like
Right.
him and Sylvie are going to be the two. And they're going to, like, go head to head maybe at some point.
Be at odds, yeah.
Yeah. But that's, I just want it. Give me season 2, please.
Yeah. So, for those of you not keeping track, the show was originally
best
supposed
Disney
to come
Plus show.
out. Well, that too. But the show was originally supposed to come out in June of this year. Then it got, well, this was never confirmed, but it was rumored to have been pushed back to August/September. And now they're saying it's been pushed back even more slightly to October. So the only thing with that is that if it truly isn't coming out until October, I feel like the chances of Echo releasing the end of this year are very slim now.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I just can't. Based off what they've done so far, they've literally taken 8+ months between releases of their shows. I highly doubt that they would have Loki end in November and then the very next month have Echo premiere, but we'll see.
Well,
we'll see what happens.
Oh, what shows am I thinking of that happened last year or the year where it was one show and then it went immediately into Hawkeye, two weeks after?
Well, that would have been the year before.
Yeah. Was it Moon Knight around that time?
I can't remember. Moon Knight was after Hawkeye. That was the next show. So Hawkeye came out towards the end of 2021. And then Moon Knight came out in early 2022. It was early spring, I think, right?
Okay. I don't know. I could have swore there was one Marvel show that ended and Hawkeye was maybe
What If? It was What If or Loki, right?
It
Loki. Well, you're right. What If was before. Yeah, What If was before Hawkeye, but that was over, I think, at least a month or so before Hawkeye came out. Yeah, the only one that was back to back releases was Falcon and the Winter Soldier coming out literally a couple weeks after WandaVision ended. And then we thought that was going to be the norm moving forward, they would have a new show ready back to back, but then it was a couple months before Loki came out, and then from that point on it's been at least a couple months between each show, which now it's even less because She-Hulk was the last show, and that was 7-8 months ago now. So
Oh, it's crazy looking at this Phase 4 timeline. Because we're supposed to be at Blade.
Sheesh. Yep.
We just did Guardians, and the next one's supposed to be Blade, but...
Yep.
Miss Marvel came earlier than they projected.
Huh.
Because it says 2023 question mark on the thing.
2023 question mark?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean their schedule's been all over the place.
Also, Captain Marvel 2 was supposed to be out July last year.
I know.
Oh,
I know that.
Bro, looking at these, dude, I can't believe people say Phase 4 sucked.
Sheesh.
Obviously there were some fucking stinkers. But we got Loki, WandaVision, Black Panther 2, Moon Knight, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Spider-Man 3. Like, those alone were like knockouts.
True.
But I can't please everyone, especially when everybody wants to predict the downfall before it happens of anything in general.
True.
Well, that shit's mid, dude. I'm on to that. I'm here,
Oh
dude.
man,
Like, bro, just
let's get some hate
like
rate in the chat. You know.
Anyways, we should probably move on.
Yeah. So, Eileen Shim, one of the writers for House of Dragon, has been hired for the upcoming Vision Quest series. Showrunner Jack Schaefer revealed that on her WGA profile page that the show is scheduled for a 2024-2025 release time frame.
Yeah, so as you guys can see right here, this is her profile, I guess, on the WGA website. And Vision Quest she has for a release in the 2024-2025.
Vision Quest seems like one of the shows that like Disney's like for sure on.
Yeah.
Because with all the news, like, but everything getting pushed back and everything, it seems like the most consistent that the show is going to be made has been Vision Quest, which makes sense, but from what people are thinking it's going to be, because it's kind of going to be the Young Avengers kind of thing, and that's what they wanted to lead into anyways. So it would make sense, to have for Vision Quest to be like kind of like Loki, the first season. Like, it's kind of a linchpin of the story in the MCU. Like, you can't have where we're at now without that.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't know
also,
that.
Paul Bettany is amazing, so put him in.
True. So Jack Schaefer, she was the showrunner for WandaVision, and she's also the showrunner for the Agatha series. So I actually did not even know that she was supposed to be the showrunner for Vision Quest as well. Like, that is
I am excited for Agatha.
That is a lot to work on.
From what leaks have been
yes.
shared.
And that's funny you mentioned that, because literally the next thing I'm pretty sure Ben can confirm, but is an update on Agatha.
Yeah.
What's her face and her?
Oh yeah. From Scooper, can we get some toast? Claims that the villain in Agatha, widely believed to be Mephisto, will take on multiple different forms in the show, which is why we've been hindered. Wait, hold on. Have been hearing multiple actors have been cast for the roles, such as Sacha Baron Cohen and Aubrey Plaza. Plaza's character is said to be even more powerful than Wanda, causing even further speculation that she will be one of Mephisto's many forms. Which that's
as long as Sacha Baron Cohen is Mephisto, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's
because he fits Mephisto.
It's kind of confusing, honestly. Like, this is the only thing that would make sense, because, well, first we heard even
especially
from the
more powerful,
right? Well, not even that aspect. Like, what was it? Like a couple months ago, even the trades confirmed that like Sacha Baron Cohen is in the show and he's likely playing the main villain Mephisto. And then, because we originally heard that Aubrey Plaza's character was just, like one of the witches in Agatha's coven or whatever. But now more and more people are saying that she is also rumored to be playing Mephisto. So, like, both of those rumors, like, don't really add up unless, of course, Mephisto, the character, is taking on, multiple different forms in the show, which makes sense because he does that in the comics.
Definitely. Yeah, and I mean, even if you haven't seen the comics, Mephisto's essentially like the devil of the MCU, and that's what the devil does.
Yes.
Whatever stories you read, but that makes sense. And I figured getting Aubrey Plaza at this point in her career, she kind of has to play a bigger role.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like maybe if it was like season 2 Parks and Rec, like Aubrey Plaza, she could definitely play like a side character.
Right.
But I feel like she's gonna be one of the probably what they're saying, honestly.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. And then there's some other very quick things that kind of go along with that I forgot to include. So Daniel RPK, who's, you know, a scooper that we've covered a lot of his stuff before, he says that whoever, or the character that Aubrey Plaza is playing, is not, like, she signed a multi kind of like project contract for said character. So whoever she ends up playing, like, it's not going to be just for Agatha. Apparently, like, she's going to be in multiple other stuff as well, which, you know, even further kind of maybe adds credibility that she might be playing Mephisto. And then, of course, you know, the fact that her character is supposed to be even more powerful than Wanda as well is, I can't really imagine. Unless it's like some other, like, you know, interdimensional, like, cosmic, like, demon or something like that is just like crazy powerful. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. Oh, he also said too that the character she's playing is going to be recognizable even to non-comic book fans. So
Interesting.
it's kind of all adding up because I feel like most people, even that don't really follow, you know, the comics or the MCU that much, know who Mephisto is just because of like how popular the character is. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm definitely interested to see this show now. That's for sure. I mean, I was already before, but now even more so.
So another piece of Marvel news I have here for y'all is that Margaret Robbie has been reportedly been offered the role of Sue Storm.
Wait a second.
You say that
What?
name again.
Margaret Robbie.
Margaret Robbie, dude. Otherwise known as Barbie.
Oh,
It's Margot,
no.
but go on.
All right, Margot Robbie has
There you
been
go.
reportedly offered the role of Sue Storm, but a deal hasn't been reached yet. Jeff Snyder is claiming that Dave Diggs is a very likely one of the top contenders to play the Thing.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna be upset if it's not Jodie Comer. But I like Margot Robbie is a hitter as an actress. So
Yeah, she's easy to look at too, you know.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that is usually one of the preconditions for an actor,
True, actually.
especially in America.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I
when you
don't.
watch some British stuff, they can act phenomenally
True.
because they don't go based just on looks. But anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, this was definitely kind of out of left field for me because, well, we went over last week the reported like short list for like the the finalists for like who's going to be playing Sue Storm, and she was not mentioned. So I don't know if this was like something where they were just like, hey, you know what? Let's just like call up Margot Robbie and see if she wants to play the role or something like that. Because it doesn't sound like she auditioned or like even like expressed interest beforehand. Like they were just kind of like, they basically just offered her the role. It was like, hey, like if you want this role, it's yours type thing. So I don't like, no one really knows if she really has any interest in playing the role. So I guess we'll see. I guess it's up to her whether she accepts it or not. But and then as for David Diggs potentially playing the Thing, he hasn't really been in a whole lot of stuff. Apparently he's mainly a like a Broadway actor. But I mean, they say he's pretty talented, and he is Jewish, which is reportedly
What's
what
his name?
they're looking for. David Diggs,
David
Diggs,
okay.
something like that. I don't know.
I was looking up W. Diggs.
It's W.
I don't
Diggs.
think this is the guy. It says here he's dead. So
It's Daveed.
yeah, I found it.
Okay.
I'm black. I know how to spell it.
See, I thought.
Oh,
I thought maybe
I should
that was
have.
a misspelled.
I forgot. I had a picture ready to show you guys as well of what he looks like, but But yeah, this is
Oh, he plays. Oh no! In the Little Mermaid, he's Sebastian.
Uh-oh.
oh, is he really?
Yo.
Yeah.
Sheesh. Well, there you go.
Oh yeah. So he seems to be a kind of like a vocalist actor. Like he. Yeah, he's in Hamilton. Oh, okay. Blind Spotting. What else is he being? Snowpiercer.
Sheesh.
Yeah, he's Sebastian in The Little Mermaid. He was in Star Wars Visions.
Hey yo. Hopefully one of the good
Crux.
episodes matching.
I don't know who Crux is, but it was in
Yeah,
the
you'd
second
you'd
season.
have to say the episode because I don't remember any of the characters' names in any of those episodes.
Oh, he was in Blackish. Okay.
But yeah, long story short, that is rumored to be one of the finalists to play the Thing in the MCU. So we'll see.
It's lit.
But yeah, we got some other Fantastic Four stuff as well if you want to
Oh yeah,
continue that.
absolutely. Speaking of which, Paul Mescal, okay,
You got
has reportedly passed on the role of Johnny Storm due to scheduling conflicts. Lucas Gage has reportedly screen tested for the recent role. Recent role for Johnny Storm. Okay, and Denzel Washington is said to have passed on the role of Galactus before it was offered to Antonio Banderas, which that's very interesting.
Yeah, so really
Denzel
quick
as Galactus. That'd be
Galactus.
wild.
Denzel Washington?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they reportedly offered him the role of Galactus, but he passed, and then
Yeah.
they gave it to
I would
Antonio.
do if I was
Yes,
Denzel
it's
Washington. That is not a Denzel Washington role.
Sheesh. But
Like, don't get me wrong, like I'm excited to see that character, but like,
right.
don't put Denzel in a whole fucking full CGI getup, dude.
yeah, I feel like
I
they
would much
could
rather
definitely
see
find a
him
better
play
role for
in,
him.
like Secret Invasion or something.
Yeah.
Something where like we get to, because when we want to see Denzel, we want to see Denzel. Like,
Yo, what if he plays Blue Marvel?
that'd be dope.
Because that's
Yeah,
another
I mean,
character
as
that
long as it's not, honestly, as long as it's not Galactus.
yeah.
I can't see Denzel Washington eating a planet. I'm sorry.
Imagine.
But yeah, no, Blue Marvel would fit pretty well. He's at the right age for it too.
Yeah.
So.
Plus, like in the comics, that character has been around for a while, right? Because he like started like can't remember the exact time, but I'm pretty sure he started like in the comics. He started being a hero as early as like the 40s or 50s, something like that. So, but he's, because of his powers, you know, he doesn't. I shouldn't say he doesn't age, but he ages very slowly. So
Yeah, it's like a kind of like a Viltrumite.
yeah.
Not
But
as OP, but
right, yeah. But I mean, I don't know. Blue Marvel is.
I'm about to say he has
He's-
survived a
he's
hydrogen bomb, so I guess
He's kind of crazy.
blowing up in
the
his
comics.
hands, by the way, not just like he was in the area.
He's pretty strong, but yeah, so last week we talked about Paul Mescal being offered the role of Johnny Storm. So now it appears that he passed on that. I guess due to some type
I'm
of
not gonna be
scheduling
able to get
conflicts.
that out of my head, dude.
Get what out of your
I
head?
can't think of anybody else to play fucking Blue Marvel now that you said
Right.
Denzel, dude. Like,
That's what I'm saying, dude. It'd be perfect.
oh, honestly, like the role.
Yeah.
So the
Well,
last
hold on. Before you move on, too,
Yeah,
real
yeah,
quick.
yeah,
This is this right here is what that Lucas Gage actor guy looks like.
Oh yeah, I looked it up.
This is
He
That's-
looks like I mean, fits the description of the Human Torch.
yeah, for sure.
He looks like some attractive young man that has superpowers now. That's a little cocky.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely seems to be, I guess, the kind of look that they're going for in an actor. But anyways, yep, that we'll see. But he's said to be, one of the candidates to play Johnny Storm now,
Bring
so we'll
back
see.
Chris Evans.
Sheesh.
I mean, you ain't wrong.
I'm telling
He
you,
said
dude.
that like he would come back like as like a multiverse variant
I'm
of
telling
the
you.
Human Torch.
Can you
And it's like,
imagine
you have
if
to.
the Torch meets Captain America in like a
Yes.
multiverse? Who the hell
Why
is
are
this
you
guy?
black?
I don't know about
Like,
that,
hold on, why
but
are you? Hold on. Am I black in this universe?
I'm calling it now. Chris Evans is going to be coming back as Human Torch in either Secret Wars or Deadpool 3. I'm
has to,
calling
dude.
it now.
Dude, that would be wild.
There's just
Like,
no way he
it'd be
doesn't.
funny if like it showed his face first, and like we didn't see like his get
Right,
up or anything,
yeah.
and then it zooms out and he's like in a Fantastic
Yeah.
Four uniform. We're just like, who the fuck is that guy? That's supposed to be Captain America. He's supposed to be dead.
Right, dude. Yeah, it's just too perfect of an opportunity to waste. But anyways, yeah, you can move on. That was the last thing I wanted to say.
So, the last and final thing that I have is that Marvel has hired 3-time Academy Award-winning production designer Dante Ferretti for Fantastic Four. Most of the movies he's worked on take place in the past, lending further credibility to rumors that the film will take place in the 1960s.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think we talked about that, didn't we? It was gonna be like a period piece, kind of.
Yes, that's been the rumor for a while now, and now that they, hired this guy to be the production designer, considering the stuff he's worked on, yeah, that seems like it's more likely than not going to be the case now. But yeah, pretty cool. Is that
And that's all I got, folks.
okay? Evan, do you want to take back over real quick?
Yes. Alright, Scooper, can we get some motherfucking toast? That's his new name. Has claimed that the Silver Surfer will actually not be in Fantastic Four, but will be getting either a spin-off show or a movie soon after. Galactus is also rumored to have multiple other heralds in the movie instead, with Terrax being the main one. Okay. I don't know if we should worry about spin-offs yet for a movie that has yet to be made.
Yeah.
That's gonna have wild expectations.
Oh, for
sure. But I like the Silver Surfer character, so I really think they should. I don't know who the guy they got in like the second of the original Fantastic Four movies, but he did really good.
Yeah.
As the Silver Surfer. Like it was on brand. It was literally like it felt like it was ripped from the comics. Even his voice, like even though you can't hear it in the comics, like that's how he talked.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know who that was, but props to you, dude. You did it.
Unfortunately, that's it's probably the best thing about the movie, to be honest.
Yes, yeah, no, wasn't that good, fortunately.
But yeah, no, I agree. He actually did do a pretty good job, and it's crazy because like now that I'm thinking about it, like I don't.
It was two people. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say
Lawrence Fishburne did the voice.
Did he really?
Yep. And Doug Jones apparently was the surfer. So who also played that one fish guy from Pan's Labyrinth, or not Pan's Labyrinth, Hellboy.
Gotcha. Interesting. I mean, sheesh. I mean, they could bring him back then as the voice of Silver Surfer if they wanted to, but
I didn't know that. That's crazy. Oh
yeah,
my
I didn't
god,
either.
he plays that weird ice cream salesman whose limbs stretch out in that one horror movie.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I actually don't even know what you're talking about.
Fuck you talking about, bro?
I'll show you. I'll show it to you.
Okay. But yeah,
You
while you're
goddamn buffoons.
while you're looking at that up, for anyone that's wondering, this guy in this image right here is Terrax, who is rumored to be Galactus's primary herald in Fantastic Four if Silver Surfer is not going to be in it. But
Give me fucking what's his face from DC? God damn it, I can't think of his name now. The big bad from
Darkseid?
Snyderverse. Darkseid, yeah. Jesus. I kept wanting to say Thanos. I'm like, that's not it.
Thanos. Yes, Thanos, the commonly known Justice League villain.
Yeah, this guy. Copy. Paste. In Discord.
Hmm.
From Legion, that's
Oh,
what it
is
was.
that
Another Paul Bettany film?
Wait, what was it called?
Legion.
That's what it is. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
as soon as I saw it, I couldn't remember what the movie was called, but I remembered
You know, I'll
seeing
never
that
forget
movie.
that ice cream man. That and the grandma.
Sheesh.
fucking
Oh yeah, where
crawling
she's
up
like
the
climbing on
fucking
this
walls.
thing. Yeah.
Yep.
But interesting. Do you want to continue on?
Sorry.
No worries.
That's all we got for that. So we will continue. Marvel is said to now be preparing a replacement for Jonathan Majors, as the actor is now facing the possibility of up to 1 year in prison. I think we should not talk about this until we know literally all the facts.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've seen this too, but it's hard to tell, like, because nothing's like official,
Right.
and it won't be until like the court is
Decides, yeah.
done. Yeah.
See, I was
Until they do their
hoping
job.
that, and like you said, we're not going to talk about like any of like the specifics of
For sure.
what's going on, or I guess what we think is true, because at the end of the day we really don't know the facts yet. But I was hoping that Marvel would wait to replace him until they know for sure, right? Like, or at least
We
until he's like
understand
convicted. But
preparing
you're
for
right,
it.
yeah. I'm just saying, like, I hope they don't
it's
jump
a
the
huge
gun.
role.
Yeah,
Like the whole universe is kind of the linchpin on this guy.
yeah. It's
But,
just
I hope it's all just some gold digger trying to make some money now that he's famous. But
yeah. I mean, to be fair,
and it's kind of. I know I said we wouldn't talk about it, but it's kind of fucking wild that there's talks that Ezra Miller might keep his job,
yeah.
and the world is already kind of just hating on Jonathan Majors on something that's not even confirmed.
Yeah. It's kind of
Like,
wild. Not
Ezra
to,
Miller is confirmed. Like,
Yeah.
we have police reports of that shit.
not to get like too sidetracked here, but one quick thing I'll bring up that like kind of goes along with that I thought was pretty wild is someone that works on The Flash. I want to say it's like a costume designer or something like that. Like someone that like worked on the film. They said recently that like someone asked them in an interview like if people think that they would like grow to accept Ezra Miller as like the Flash, even despite everything that they've done. And they were essentially like, yeah, I think after people see this movie, they're just gonna forget about what they did and just accept
That's
him
crazy.
as the Flash. I was like, I don't know. That's kind of wild to say, but
It is.
but yeah, at the end of the day, like I said, really the only takeaway I have is I just hope Marvel doesn't jump the gun, and if they do, I hope that they have a pretty good idea that he actually did do the things that he's
For
being
sure.
accused of, because
Credited, for sure, like it has to be credible.
yeah.
But if they do, they should get the motherfucker who just played
Yes, dude.
the High Evolution
You were,
because he was fucking amazing.
that's crazy.
Mm.
No, it's funny you say that because I'm not even kidding you. That was literally the next thing that I was gonna bring up. Because now, before we get into
That
it,
dude was
though,
awesome.
I do have to make the disclaimer. There's like nothing out there, like no rumors, nothing that is
It'd
saying
be so
this.
easy to tie it in. Sorry, go on.
This is just like our and a lot of people's theories of like what they could do if, you know, they do have to replace Jonathan Majors. But because I think we even talked about this a couple days ago, Evan, like his the High Evolutionary, like his armor looks like very similar to Kang's. And because, you know, he had a bunch of stuff from like the past and he had a bunch of high tech stuff for like hundreds of years up until that point, I had the theory that he had like met with Kang at some point in the past and like basically they worked out a deal and he like got all this like future tech from him. But I mean, if they have to replace him, I think this guy might be because they could easily just say that he's a Kang variant, you know what I mean? Like in Guardians 3, like
absolutely.
they could just easily like kind of like I guess like retroactively make him a Kang variant. So yeah.
Woody is Woozy
Yeah.
is his name. So man, Jonathan Majors is much easier to say, but
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I think he has his next like court hearing is I want to say in like June sometime. So we'll probably know a little bit more after
he's
that. So
Nigerian. Okay, that makes sense. Sorry, I'm on.
no, yeah, no worries, no worries. But yeah, we'll see what happens. And then I think you got one more
He was
thing,
in
right?
John Wick 2?
I don't even remember that.
As
honestly.
Kang?
Who do you play?
No,
Yeah, as King. It had to have been like a small, or at least a smaller role. I went to a Coney. I don't remember that.
Oh, dude, I love Coney sauce.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I know
He
some of these
was
words.
he was the guy that you know the sister that the brother makes John Wick kill in the second movie, like with his marker.
Oh yeah.
He's the guy that they were meeting with before like like the big party that where John Wick kills him
Okay.
or kills her. She was meeting his character. That's who that was.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember that at all, but that's
Yeah,
pretty
they were
cool
like talking
nonetheless.
about like you on my territory, all that kind of shit.
Gotcha.
I think he had a Nigerian accent too, so that makes sense because he's Nigerian. That wasn't a Nigerian accent.
All right, well, pretty cool.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on to some terrible news.
Sheesh.
Blade has now halted production again, due to the WGA strike, and won't be picked back up until it's over, which could be fucking who knows.
True.
Other films such as Deadpool 3, Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four are all said to be still on track for now, which could easily change.
Yeah.
Scooper Daniel RPK claims that Delroy Lindo has been cast as Deacon Frost in the film, and also backed recent rumors that Mia Goth is going to be playing the main villain, likely Lilith. Okay.
Yeah, pretty straightforward stuff, I
not
guess.
much to say about that.
Yeah. I know that the movie was supposed to start filming quite literally in like 2 weeks.
I was supposed to fucking get it this year.
Yeah, so because of the strike, I don't know. It's hard to say when they'll be filming now, probably until it's done at least, but yeah. We'll have to see. But
All right, well that's all I got.
all right, sounds good. So now we got some Guardians of the Galaxy to talk about, and obviously we'll be going over each of our respective thoughts about the movie. But before we do that, we have a couple of tie-in kind of news stories, information to go over, not just about the early development of the film, but also about what James Gunn thinks about his characters and their appearances in the other MCU films as well. So first of all, he said in a recent interview that there were some things that his characters did in Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, mainly Infinity War, that he did not agree with and that he would have changed. The main two, well, he only gave two examples, but the two examples that he gave, the first one was that he said he didn't agree with Peter Quill refusing to kill Gamora when she asked him to, because I guess he just said that he would have taken precedence of, protecting the galaxy over, his personal feelings, I guess. And then that also ties in with his second, even bigger complaint, is that when, the infamous scene when Peter Quill hits Thanos when they're just about to subdue him, right? Infinity War. He essentially says that Peter Quill, there's no chance that he would have done that, that he would have been able to control himself at least until, they were able to defeat Thanos for the sake of the galaxy, or the universe rather. But as for the first one, I actually don't even agree with that, because didn't Peter Quill literally try to kill Gamora? Like, he eventually did. He eventually did try to shoot her, but Thanos used the Reality Stone to turn the bullets into bubbles. So
that he wouldn't have hesitated.
Hesitated as much as he did. That's which I mean, he's the one that made the character, so I can't say that he's wrong. I can't say that he's wrong, but that made sense to me. Like, that made sense that his character would be hesitant to kill, Gamora, especially considering the relationship. But as for his second, issue, I do agree with that. I don't think that he would have. I don't think he would have overheated that much, when they were just about to defeat Thanos. I think at the very least he would have waited until, another couple seconds until they defeated him, and then.
Sure.
So I definitely agree with that particular issue he had about
Especially when he knows what he could do.
Right, yeah. But I don't know. Do you guys have any further thoughts about that, or?
Not really. I mean, it doesn't change.
For sure.
How I feel about the movies or anything.
Yeah, I mean, for all we know,
cool to know though.
James Gunn could have disagreed, but we all know who altered that scene. Obviously, Kevin.
Okay.
I mean,
I don't know who you're talking about, dude.
True.
Yeah, weird.
But anyway, so the very last thing before we get into our thoughts about the new movie is that he said apparently in one of the early versions of his script, he had the villain Annihilus from the comics was actually said to be the main villain of the movie rather than the High Evolutionary. So yeah, for those of you that don't know, a quick rundown of Annihilus from the comics. He lives in a place called the Negative Zone, and he is just an insanely hard villain to defeat because he's kind of like Ultron in the fact that every time you defeat him, he literally just comes back. Like, you could literally kill him and he will resurrect himself. He's kind of crazy strong. I'm not gonna lie.
I like Doomsday.
But yeah.
It's more technologically advanced.
Yeah. But that would be pretty cool. I kind of have a feeling too, I mean, it's hard to say, but I kind of have a feeling too that Marvel might have convinced him not to do that. I mean, he doesn't say. He just said that he decided to go with the High Evolutionary instead. But I feel like Marvel may have had a hand in him switching that around, because I feel like they have other plans for the character in the future, because Annihilus is definitely, an Avengers level threat. So we'll have to see what happens. And then alongside this too, very quickly, he did confirm that he's done with the Guardians. Like, he's not going to be directing any more movies. which, you know, makes sense since he's now in charge of the DCU and all that stuff, or at least the next 8 to 10 years. So if there is another
Until we
Guardians
get
movie,
the
it won't be him.
DC
They're about to be
versus
old as
Marvel.
True.
Because like, who would be better to direct that than him?
That's actually true.
Crossover
Yeah.
between DC and Marvel.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, that's you know, decade or more away, and possibly will never happen.
Yeah. I do have to say though, if Marvel does decide to make another Guardians film, it's gonna be pretty weird without James Gunn at the helm.
Oh, it's not
to be honest,
the
but
same. They wouldn't be able to call it Guardians. It had to
Yeah.
be called something else.
but anyways, that is just some quick, I guess, information that I wanted to bring up before we go over the actual movie that's come out. So now we can get into Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and our thoughts about it. So I don't care whoever wants to start first, but it's just,
You go first.
you want me to?
Yeah, you go first.
All right. So
Better be good.
imagine. So yeah, I think I thought about this for a couple days, and I think in terms of like my ranking of the 3 Guardians movies, and I think I have to put it as my second favorite behind the first movie.
Same.
But I definitely,
Which is hard to say.
right. That decision was very close though. Like the third and the first movies are very close in my opinion, but I think it's pretty clear that the third one is over the second one though. So, not to say the second one is bad, I'm just saying like that was a lot easier decision to put that over the second movie than, you know, to put the first one over the second. But yeah, in terms of the trilogy, I'd probably rank it second favorite. And then as for the movie itself, I thought it was about as good of a finale, honestly, as could be made, honestly. Sure, you know, there's some other things maybe that they could have done differently or, you know, added to the film, but, you know, just for the sake of wrapping up each of the Guardians' respective like story arcs, right, that was started in the first film, I felt like it accomplished everything that it needed to. You know, everything from like the acting, you know, just like the character moments, the character growth, the music, the effects, the action sequences, all that stuff was just really good in my opinion. Like I had no complaints about any of that stuff. You know, I guess you could say the story wasn't like anything crazy per se, in terms of like being unpredictable, but it didn't really have to be, honestly, like with the direction that James Gunn decided to go for, like with the film. And then I saw a lot of people saying too that like the stakes weren't as high as the previous 2 films were, in terms of like, you know, the whole galaxy or like multiple planets being at risk that they have to save. But honestly, I like the decision of, you know, having the focus just be on the Guardians themselves, right? And then like them having to save, you know, one of their teammates, being Rocket, you know, since he gets injured at the start of the film. I actually like that the focus was more so on them rather than, you know, some grand adventure of them having to like save the galaxy again or something like that. But and even then, I guess you could argue that in the grand scheme of things too, that, you know, had the high evolutionary, right, like gone unchecked, right, and not been stopped, like who's to say like what he would have done, right, like
I mean,
in the future, but right, exactly. But yeah, I also want to say too, I think this news just came out like yesterday or the day before, but this film has now broken the world record for most prosthetics used in a film ever.
That makes sense.
Which I thought was pretty interesting, because I was gonna say too, like the film looked very, I don't know, authentic is like the only word that's like coming to mind, but there's like a better word. But
at least when they're on, I'm not gonna too many spoilers, but when they're on that counter Earth, like you can tell all of those people in the costumes, or people in costumes.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
You could tell they were like handcrafted. They weren't just like CGI'd in or like had CGI
Yeah.
faces or something.
And
What are you talking about? Those are real people.
but yeah,
You're right.
exactly. That's what he said. But yeah, I like really appreciate that. Not about even just this film in particular, but just like films in general that decide to go more so of that route rather than either heavily or fully relying on CGI. I feel like is definitely the way to go.
Yeah. I like
Um,
prosthetics that are enhanced by
yeah,
CG.
for sure. Whereas
It's
you,
like that should be the way to do it. Like you take the best of both to make the best thing you can.
yeah, exactly. Like I felt like one of the minor complaints I had about Quantum Mania was that there was just too much CGI in some spots. Like if they would have done that right, maybe not, obviously not to the extent that they went with Guardians Volume 3, but like if they just had like more, actual like sets built or like costumes and like you said, just chose to enhance a lot of those things with CGI, I think it would have looked a lot better. But it is what it is. That's the direction they decided to go with. But like I said, that's just me being biased towards, films that use more like prosthetics and like actually like built sets and stuff rather than mainly relying on CGI. I understand like some films it's hard to do that, but in a lot of cases you can build a lot of stuff yourself. But not me, but the people that are actually skilled in that department.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I thought that was a really cool decision, I guess, that creatively that they decided for the film. Obviously, that hallway fight sequence, the end of the like towards the end of the movie where it's just like that continuous one take of like all the Guardians just going crazy, like fighting all those whatever they were.
Beastie
But
Boys in 2 Marvel projects in like a 2-month span.
right, dude.
And it hits.
Between the Marvels trailer and that fight scene. Yeah, and it hits every time. Beastie Boys, there's a reason that like Method Man loves the Beastie Boys.
Yeah. So the last thing that I have to say,
I hate him.
oh my god. The last thing I have to say, the last I guess positive too I have to say is I thought it was really cool, like the new Guardians team that they set up in the end credit scene as well. Like I thought that was like a really good choice to have like those specific characters as part of the exactly
Also
that, the new
Groot.
Guardians team, I guess. But
King Groot was awesome.
So like the only thing that when we talk about that specific team in that scene, who is the fucking girl?
So we'll get to that.
Actually,
We'll get to that.
She's actually a pretty powerful character.
Yes.
At least in the comics.
We'll get to that at the very end. I was gonna save that for after you guys said your thoughts.
Oh,
but
little teaser. Okay.
the only other thing I'll say is the only like somewhat negative thing I had about the film, and that is I wanted to see more of Adam Warlock. I'm not gonna lie, like based off what they were showing like from the trailers, I thought he would have a lot larger role than what he did, or at the very least more screen time. But at the same time, I understand, that's just his introduction. Like they wanted to focus on, closing out the stories of the main Guardians, right? Rather than, giving like a huge chunk of the plot and the story to this brand new character. And then, obviously, he's gonna have more appearances down the road as well. Like there's just no way that they don't. So with that all, taking all of that into account, it's not, like I said, as big of a negative for me as it was at first. But yeah, that's really the only somewhat, I guess, negative about the movie that I can think of, at least, is that I would have liked to have seen more of Adam Warlock's character. But aside from that, I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I don't know how much more I can really say. I'm in the same exact boat with it being number 2. As far as Guardians movies go.
Right.
But yeah, no, I thought it was a really, really well. It's what I figured it would be. Is a really well done third act to a 3-part series, and
Right.
we went into places that were interesting. We saw new people. We got back with the old people. We got new characters that we liked, which is hard to do.
Yeah.
Especially in a finale type movie where you're already trying to close all these loose ends just to give it a roundabout story that makes sense. Which I think James Gunn did, which gives me more hope for DC. But
Yeah.
that he can tell a story from beginning to end,
Right.
like overarching. Because obviously he can make movies and he can tell a story in a movie. But it's good to see that he can also take the bigger picture and make it all make sense.
Yeah.
So that makes me feel a little bit better about DC in their future, which I already felt pretty good based on what I've been hearing James Gunn and Peter Safran have been doing.
Right.
But yeah, no, I really liked it. I thought, like you said, that hallway scene was fucking dope. Beastie Boys is always a W.
Yeah.
Teared up a couple times. The flashbacks were really
I
well
know,
placed
dude.
to pace the film. I don't think they really we didn't really have to stop the film to go.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like that. Like it felt like the flashbacks were pertinent to the situation where they were shown.
Yeah.
And we got to say it because I don't think we have it. The visually we take it for granted, but man, the fact that we can get these movies that just look real,
Right, dude.
and all these crazy fucking situations that it would be so hard to do. But yeah, no, I really liked it. I thought that they used each of the characters pretty well, even the newer ones, like Cosmo.
Yeah.
And name I can't do it. Well, yeah, no, I thought it was really good. It's sad to see the legacy end, but
Right.
It is what it is. I'm glad that we got the 3 that we got, and I'm excited to see some of these characters in future projects.
What did you guys think of the part at the end with us finally being able to understand Groot?
Oh yeah, I thought that was
this line at the end.
It really threw me off for a second.
I know,
until,
me too.
I read that article.
Yeah, I was confused at first too because I was like, oh, that's cool. I was like, wait, why aren't they reacting? Why aren't the rest of the Guardians
3 movies
they
to
just talked
learn
for the first
4 new
time.
words.
And then it hit me. I was like, oh, it's because we've spent so much time with them now. We finally understand them like they do. Yeah.
Man, they broke the 4th wall.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
I love you guys.
AVIN does it again.
What'd you think, Ben?
Sorry, took a drink.
I hated it. That's what he's saying.
No. If the only thing I'll add, not to repeat everything that was said because it is accurately said, is I'm more excited to see James Gunn's projects in the DC now than I was before. So,
I feel
that's fair.
even the movies that he already did for the DC universe, I haven't seen, but I think I'm gonna watch them and pay a little bit more attention to those films.
They're pretty good.
Well, I think he did Suicide Squad. Has he done any others?
Well, I think he meant Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
Oh,
right,
okay.
right. Oh, and Peacemaker, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, just to reiterate it again, I mean, it was a perfect, in my opinion, a perfect send off to a beloved trilogy by Benny.
I agree. I want to ask you guys this because it didn't hit me at first, when I first got done watching the film, because I was just, so caught up with how good it was, I guess. But the more I thought about it, I was really surprised that none of the Guardians died. for one reason only, really, for one main reason, and that is because we know that some of them are done, right? Like they're not coming back as their characters, like Zoe Saldana, Dave Batista, like they both said like they're for sure not coming back as their respective characters. So like I thought it was a weird choice to leave that. I mean, I get it, you know, you don't want to like kill off your characters like that, but like to have their I guess story arcs end in the way that they did, I feel like it's not going to make a whole lot of sense for them to not show up like in the future, like especially like when the universe is at stake. You know what I mean? So
Oh,
I guess that was like the really only other thing they could have maybe changed, is to like maybe give them like a somewhat different ending so that it would make more sense as to why they wouldn't show up again, you know what I mean? Like in the future. But I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
well, I think that I don't think it would matter much if this was like the Infinity Gauntlet saga. Then I would agree, but we're
Right.
sort of getting into what like Secret Wars is essentially where we're going into, and
Right.
it's called Secret Wars because not everyone knows that what's going on. And so that I guess that would make sense because like Gamora with the Ravagers, they're off doing fucking whatever they want. Um, and then who the ones that are left on nowhere, I feel like they're worried about themselves first. But I mean, I see what you mean though, for sure.
Yeah.
I
Think
mean, like, even if they did die, who's to say they couldn't do what they already did for Gamora anyways? Just bring him back, but it's a different universes.
well, they'd have to time travel for that to be the case, but um yeah, I guess like based off what you said, as long as they can somehow explain it away until Secret Wars, or I guess I should say after Secret Wars, because if it's true they're going to be resetting everything, right, then they would just wouldn't have to worry about it after that point. It's like, because you know they could just easily say like, oh well, when the universe reset, like certain characters just, you know, were erased from existence type thing. Um but yeah, I was mainly talking about like Secret Wars. Like if they bring everyone together, kind of like they did with Endgame, like I feel like it'll be weird, like to not see them there, especially knowing that they're still alive out there somewhere. You know what I mean?
I feel like the only ones we're
Um,
not gonna see are Drax and Gamora.
yeah, but the thing is, like, if Drax is on Nowhere with Nebula and she returns, right? Then like, how are they gonna explain like where he's
Well,
at?
that's
You
the
know?
thing. Drax was like that was like the end of his story is that he was done
Hmm.
fighting.
Right.
Like he just wanted to be like a dad.
True.
So it makes sense that he would stay on Nowhere to protect. Yeah, I mean, even more so if there's a universal threat. Like
Right.
I feel like he would feel more obliged to stay with,
And protect
the
them. Yeah.
children and stay there and protect them. And even if it wouldn't really make sense to not go help in like the whole Secret Wars thing, I feel like that's where he's at in his character arc. That like he thinks that it is more opportune for him to stay where he's at than it would be to leave these people and these kids on their own kind of thing. But
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
obviously reading into it.
No,
But
that makes sense. That makes sense for sure.
but yeah, at least for Drax. Now Gamora, that's a different thing. Like it
Right.
wouldn't make sense at all if it was like a Thanos, because that's literally her, you know,
Right.
stepfather, but or adopted father. But yeah, I don't know, because honestly, like it's kind of hard to see because the Ravagers don't really
Yeah,
give
no, they don't really care
they
about
don't really give a
stuff like that.
distinctive like organization. Like there's just Ravagers.
Yeah.
And like they're around, kind of like pirates. Like, oh yeah, he's a
Right.
pirate, but there's so many pirates that like, yeah, he's a pirate somewhere. But yeah, no, I don't know. It's for Gamora. I'd be fine not seeing her. Um,
Right.
but I'd be fine with
Well, we'll
seeing her
have to
again
be because
too.
she's not
Yeah.
coming back.
Yeah, true. Yeah, but like, I don't think it. I'm not gonna walk out of Secret Wars probably being like, where the
Right.
fuck was Gamora?
Imagine. Imagine that's like your one takeaway from the movie. Like everyone's like, "Oh, dude, that was awesome!" Like seeing everyone come back and team up, and they like look over to you. You're just like, you're just like, that's like the one thing you couldn't get out of your head like the whole movie. But yeah, no, I'm sure they'll find a way to just
So
kind of
where do you
explain that
think
away. But
where do you sorry to jump the gun here.
no worries.
But like where do you think the thought process is now that we have a new formed Guardians of the Galaxy team? Do you think they continue making them a theatrical movie, which I think would be not great, but do you
Right.
think they convert over to a special presentation or a or the live action TV series?
I don't think, honestly, we're gonna get a movie or a series where it's them. I think we're gonna see them more as side characters, kind of like in Secret Wars. I think we're gonna see them as a team in future projects, but I think that's not gonna get till we get to these movies. Kind of like how like Infinity War and Endgame, they were these bigger movies that had the A, B, C, D plots with all these different teams. I think that's when we'll see them next, because I think they're going to be off doing their own thing for a while.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't think they would do another Guardians movie or even a show. I don't know, especially without James Gunn. I just can't imagine that they would. Oh, for sure. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, if James Gunn, like, if he like signs off on like a director, like, yeah, like this guy can definitely like take over for me. Like then I would, I definitely wouldn't be opposed to that. But if they just, don't really involve him and just go out and just try to get like not some random director, but just like any director that they're like, this guy's pretty good, or we think he has potential, we'll throw him in there, see what he can do. Like, I don't know, because I feel like Guardians has a very distinct just kind of like tone, I guess, that's like different from like the other MCU movies that I don't know, I feel like if they just got anyone in there, it just wouldn't feel the same. But I guess you never know what might happen. But the last question I want to ask you guys too is, where would you rank this trilogy among like all the MCU trilogies so far? Or not even just trilogies, I guess just like any like franchise that has like 3 or more films. Because I know Thor is 4 now, so.
Well, it's hard to say because honestly, like as far as consistency goes, the Guardians have been the most consistent franchise in the MCU.
Okay.
Because I'd probably put it under Iron Man just because of what Iron Man did for the MCU.
Interesting. Okay.
Because I remember Iron Man 3 came out and people were kind of hating on it.
Yeah. Still do to this day.
Yeah, and I didn't get it. I thought it was good. I liked the story, and Robert Downey Jr. did his thing. But because like when you think about Thor, 2 and 4 are rough.
True. True. I guess I don't mean like. Go ahead.
No. You go right ahead. I'm just like spitballing, honestly.
Yeah, I guess I should have clarified. I don't necessarily mean like what you think is the best trilogy, just like your personal favorite like trilogy, or like I said, just series in general.
Probably 2 or 3.
2 or 3 what?
Behind, like it'd probably be the second or third.
Oh, okay.
Behind Iron Man and Spider-Man.
Gotcha.
Which is kind of hard to say Spider-Man because it's not just
right. Yeah. What about you, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, Guardians has pretty consistently been a great movie trilogy, all 3 movies. But I don't know, that's tough. And I'm trying to
Didn't mean
think
to
of
stump
all
you
the
so
other.
much.
I'm trying to
So-
think of all the other movies that have had movie franchises that have
Right.
had 3 or more in the series besides Iron Man and Thor.
You got
Um,
Captain America. You
so
got
like,
that's pretty much it.
so like,
actually.
Captain America will be my number 1 trilogy.
Okay.
And I don't know. I mean, it would probably be Captain America, Iron Man, and then your Avengers movies, and then I would probably put Guardians
Right.
at 4. I mean, I know it'll be in my top 5.
Right.
Um,
Well, there's only
but I don't know.
5 to begin with. No, I'm
Oh well,
trolling
yeah,
you.
there you go.
Yeah, I think for me, probably Spider-Man. I'd have to say is my favorite trilogy, just because I feel like that's probably the most. Aside from Guardians, I feel like that's like the most consistent all the way through. Plus, I mean, it's Spider-Man. Like that's been one of my favorite characters, like ever since I was a kid. So, um, but Captain America is definitely up there as well. I will say I'm not as high on the Iron Man franchise as a whole as you guys are. But Captain America for sure. The first one definitely brings it down a little bit. The first movie that is of the Captain America trilogy, but Winter Soldier and Civil War just propel that like
Fucking hit,
so,
dude.
like it just propels it like so high up the list. So that definitely has to be up there as well. If I had to rank it, I'd probably go Spider-Man just because, it's just great from start to finish, and then Captain America, and then Guardians. My top 3 trilogies. But anyways, the last thing I wanted to say was before we moved on was based off what you asked earlier, Ben, about that new girl that's part of the Guardians that we saw at the end of in the first post-credit scene, I guess, of the movie. So that is Phyla. Well, in the movie her name is Phyla, but I'm assuming that's Phyla Vel from the comics, as is most people assuming
Oh boy,
that's
we got
Phyla Vel.
Kal-El's kid.
No, Vel, not
No, the
Kal.
daughter or twin of Marvel. I think it's daughter, right?
So she is the daughter of the first Captain Marvel and also the brother of the second
Well,
or the third
sister.
Captain Marvel, I think, or his sister.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. I see what you mean.
But yeah, she's like a genetically engineered. I guess I don't know what like species she is, I guess, but just a genetically engineered child, I guess. From the first Captain Marvel, which I mean, I guess you could say it's like very similar to her origins in Guardians 3 as well. But yeah, she was the first, or she became the 4th Captain Marvel for a very short time in the comics. Before Carol Danvers, actually, not like right before, but it was like before Carol Danvers became Captain Marvel. But and then, like Evan alluded to, she then later acquired the quantum bands and became the new Quasar for a time as well. And then most recently, she's been a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy. So,
Add a
Man,
little
she's a
tidbit
team hopper.
info there. It would have made a little more sense if Annihilus was the main baddie. So I'm thinking she was something that was in the script before.
probably,
decided.
yeah, for sure.
Just because that's in the comics, that's who she got the quantum bands from, was Annihilus.
Yeah. But yeah, she's in the comics, she's pretty powerful, to say the least. Like she was able to go toe to toe, I guess, against her brother, who was like basically mentally crazy at the time. Who was, like I said, I think he was the 3rd Captain Marvel at that point. Also, like he had very strong cosmic powers, as does she. So, as for like what her story trajectory and power set will be in the MCU is unclear to say, I guess, at this point.
Especially if the quantum bands.
Right.
or what we think they are in the MCU at this point with Miss Marvel and whatnot.
Right, because I mean, they already
I
kind
guess
of.
we'll learn more from the next movie.
Oh, for sure,
The
yeah.
Marvels.
Or whatever her next appearance is, yeah, I guess. But
Well, at least about the quantum bands.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard because I mean they've already changed up her origin story a bit from the comics, so it's tough to say like what their plans are, if any, honestly, for the moment. Like what, as for what the character is, gonna do in the future. But yeah, that is a quick rundown of the character from the comics for those of you that don't know. So
I got a quick question for you all.
yep.
If we're talking about the last couple of scenes in the movie, well, end credit scenes,
Right.
where do you think Star-Lord is gonna return?
Kang Dynasty.
Or Secret Wars.
Or Secret Wars. Yeah. Wait, what?
I mean, I guess it depends. When does Secret Invasion take place?
Secret Invasion, like chronologically, when does it take place?
In the MCU, like, have they said like when? Like, do we know if this is before or after Guardians 3? I'm assuming after.
No, we don't.
But
we don't know that.
I have no idea. It could take place at the same time.
Yeah, I just know that it takes place after Endgame. That's the only
I'm
like.
just saying.
Uh-huh.
Him coming back to Earth, saying he's Peter Quill.
Right.
During Secret Invasion, I would question a lot of things. I'm just saying.
For sure.
Is that actually Peter Quill? That kind of thing. But
right.
I'm just fucking throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. But that I'm just making fun.
Dude, can you imagine if that wasn't his dad and that was a Kree?
Oh,
I think that's his grandpa. Yeah.
Your grandpa, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because then they'd be like, we expect Peter Quill to come back from the other side of the galaxy.
Yeah.
To Earth, where he's never been since he was kidnapped, which we somehow know.
Yeah, so.
But it would be interesting, that's for sure.
So there has been some other rumored leaks about what might happen in that show, Secret Invasion, to be precise. But I was saving that for the next podcast because there's just already so much stuff to go over for this one. But yeah, next week we might have some updates about what potentially might happen.
Next week.
Or not next week, but the next podcast.
So is there something I don't know?
And we might have some potential stuff to talk about regarding that show, but yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
We shall see, but yes, I'm going to quickly, there's just a few other very quick Marvel related things that I will go over before we transition to the last part. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Making sure.
So yeah, the first moving right along. No, you're good. The first thing is that probably like a week or so ago, there was a lot of scoopers claiming that there was going to be news regarding Spider-Man 4 within the next few months. And along with that, scooper My Time to Shine Hello, which, we've talked about some of her scoops. And
what about We Won't Waste Some Toast?
No.
Okay.
Not them. But no, she essentially said that Spider-Man 4, at least as of now, is roughly scheduled to release on August 28th, 2025. So...
Ooh, we gotta send motherfuckers to Mars by then.
Yeah, if true, we got a bit of a wait. We got a bit of a wait. But at the same time, though, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it was her or another scooper, but there's a lot of scoopers that around this time last year were claiming that this movie was going to be out in December of this year. So, I mean, maybe that was true at first. Maybe, you know, they're just taking their time.
No way.
But so I wouldn't take I wouldn't take the 2025 release date as an absolute certainty just yet. But yeah, I mean, we haven't gotten really any updates on the movie at all. So
It definitely ain't told Tom Holland. I'll tell you that. It should have been on the news the next day.
sheesh, true,
He would have
actually.
been like, "Oh yeah, we're actually. Oh wait, am I not supposed to?"
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see on that. But yeah, that is the rumored release date as of right now. Obviously things can change, but and then with that being said, we move on to Across the Spider-Verse, which actually is coming out soon, considering it comes out next month. It has been confirmed.
2.5 weeks,
Yes,
3 weeks.
something like that. But it's been confirmed that the movie is going to have a runtime of 2 hours and 20 minutes, which officially makes it the longest like major Hollywood animated film ever made. So yeah, they are obviously putting a lot of stock in this movie. They are expecting it to do pretty well if you know, if that's the case. But and then to tie right along with that is the directors have now confirmed. I mean, this is a small spoiler, I guess, but not really because they don't say what happens. But they essentially said that this movie is going to end on a cliffhanger, which, you know, pretty much is expected
so
considering. So,
I thought I muted my mic.
sheesh. But yeah, I mean, we pretty much expected that to be the case since they confirmed there's going to be a third one, right? Or that it's going to end in a trilogy.
They initially said it was going to be part 1 and part 2. So
Right.
like, it's kind of hard to go away from that, even if you change the names.
Exactly. So
But I'm all for it. I love that shit.
yeah, for sure. And I don't think it's going to be like I don't think it's going to, well, it might be an abrupt cliffhanger, but I think like the story that they set up for this film will pretty much be concluded by the end of the movie. Like, I don't think they're going to leave like a bunch of stuff that's like people are like, oh man, like why do we have to wait a whole other movie to see that? Like, I think like the main story will end and then they'll just kind of like set up something else, like, oh, but you forgot about this, or like, oh, now this is happening, so that now they got to deal with this type thing. I think they'll like wrap it up pretty well.
It's Tom
And
Holland.
then just yeah,
Tom Holland.
But anyways, with that being said, the very last thing I have is Venom 3. Well, number one, they confirmed that it's going to be they're going to start filming on the movie next month. And number two, it's been revealed that the working title for the movie is Orwell, which possibly means that Orwell, Taylor, and the jury are going to be the villains of this movie, which would be kind of weird because they're pretty obscure villains in the comics. Let's see if this article, because I don't really know a whole lot about them, but
when I think Orwell, I think George
Orwell, yeah.
And so, like, I mean, honestly, like, it could be an invasion of the symbiotes.
Right. So that is kind of. Let's just see what they say real quick. Strongly hints the possibility of actually being Venom 3 villain Orwell Taylor. As a legal protector, Venom killed Orwell's son in the comics, prompting the villain to create a group called the Jury, whose mission was to kill Eddie Brock. Decked out in Iron Man-like suits, this formidable group was a big part of the Lethal Protector comic book series. Let's see. This group has ties to the Life Foundation. So you can see how this might all link up. In fact, it's that organization which eventually supplies Orwell with a group of man-made symbiotes. And their theory is Orwell could be the father of Carlton Drake, aka Riot. So, yeah, that's potentially how that could all tie together, I guess. But I don't know. We'll see. I feel like they could definitely have a better villain or villains for the third movie, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe them having, you know, a more obscure comic book villain will allow them to focus more on the story instead. Who knows? But But yeah, that is a theory for that. So with that being said, unless you guys have anything else that you wanted to mention regarding any of that, we will move on to a few DC related things, which Evan will take over.
All right, you scrumdiddlyumptious wannabes. I'm just
Sheesh.
Damn.
it was like a, it was like a, it was good for you but bad for you at the same time. That's how you gotta leave them. You gotta give them a compliment, then you rip it right fucking off with a band-aid.
Perfect.
Anyways.
Perfect.
Flash director. Oh my god. Flash director Amy
Mhm.
Muschietti revealed that. Sorry, Annie. Is it Annie? Any?
Revealed that
Anyways,
I don't know.
his name, the person's name.
Oh, Andy. Yeah, Andy.
Andy. Okay, that's not what it says here. Revealed that he had to cut multiple cameo appearances to decrease the runtime of the film. Okay, I'm gonna touch on this after. These included Linda Carter as Wonder Woman, Cesar Romero as Joker, and Grant Gustin as the Flash. The final runtime for the film is confirmed to be 2 hours and 24 minutes. I think that they cut it for the pre-shows that they're showing before. I think they might.
Sheesh, you think
put
they might
at least
include
one
him in
of those in.
the theatrical
Yeah, I
version?
mean, if any movie DC has where they want to try something wild,
True.
it's gonna be this one.
True.
Because like they either keep it or fucking throw it away. Like
I was gonna say, because that's like such a bad excuse to take out cameos like that, is to cut down the runtime.
Bro, we're
Because
watching 3-hour movies now. Like,
well, not only that, but like they're cameos. Like they're literally only going to be on the screen for what, like a minute or two, like max. Like
yeah, you telling me I can't get 5 seconds of Grant Gustin saying, "Hey, I'm the Flash too," and then runs away?
That's what I'm saying. Like that's why I feel like you might be right. Like I feel like they actually might have those cameos in like the actual like full release when it comes out, but we'll see.
But continuing down that route,
Mhm.
after recently claiming he was done with the role, CW Flash actor Grant Gustin now says that he would be open to reprising the role if the right opportunity came along. And by right opportunity, he means
Ezra Miller getting fired. Yeah.
that too. Because Lord knows he'd probably do really well in something that wasn't on the CW.
True.
Just saying, they don't put too much money into these.
What? You mean they don't give the CW a $30 million budget?
They don't give them enough for them visuals, I'll tell you that. Man. But yeah, I don't have much to say about that other than what I already said.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if they decided to make Grant Gustin the Flash, like in the DCU, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I mean, maybe it's just because
Ezra Miller wasn't a crazy person, because I really liked him as the Flash, but like now that I know he's a crazy person, that's all I'm gonna see.
Yeah.
Is a crazy person act insane.
What do you mean, dude? You're supposed to forget after you watch the movie, then it'll all be fine.
I'm not gonna forget, dude. I've heard.
But yeah, I guess we'll have to see what they decide to do. But
moving on to something a little more in the future. James Gunn, remember him? We just talked about him. Some guy. They gave him a camera once. James Gunn has said that at least one Guardians of the Galaxy cast member will appear in Superman Legacy. He also confirmed plans to include Crypto, the Superdog, in the film. Of course he would. That's such a James Gunn thing.
I know, dude.
But I think it's Chris Pratt.
Yo.
There's people that think he's going to play Booster Gold. And that he'll make his debut in Superman Legacy.
Oh, okay. That could be. That could very well be.
Because, I mean, I figured, since Legacy is going to be about a younger Superman, he's going to be just getting into the saving people business. And I'm sure he's going to, like, see different superheroes.
Right.
And one of them could be Booster Gold, and it'll show him that like, oh, maybe I don't want to be like that.
Right. So a kind of hint at where he could be leaning, we'll actually talk about in this very next topic that you bring up. But yeah, that could very well be a possibility. Plus, he said at least one too. So, I mean, despite this next story, I mean, that doesn't mean that they couldn't also include,
For sure, yeah.
Chris Pratt as Booster Gold as well in the film. But
continuing on the what Guardians of the Galaxy cast member might appear, the Hollywood Reporter and Deadline are reporting that Nicholas Hoult and David Cornsweet, what a weird name, Cornstarch are among the top contenders currently to play the new Superman. Jacob Elordi and Andrew Richardson were also mentioned as possibilities. Holt, in particular, is also said to be in the running to play Lex Luthor, a role that Gunn reportedly offered to Bradley Cooper first, but the actor declined.
yeah, so that's what I was talking about earlier. Since Bradley Cooper is Rocket, obviously, in Guardians of the Galaxy, and reportedly he offered him the role of Lex Luthor, but most people are saying that it's probably not going to happen because he declined the role. But yeah, as for, actually I can pull this up real quick. This is what David Corenswet looks like, for those of you that don't know who he is. I didn't even know who he was, to be honest, before I heard this story. But I don't think he's been in, because I did look up the movies and shows he's been in before the podcast, and there wasn't anything that stuck out to me that I remember seeing. So it definitely would probably be, like a newer up and coming actor if he does get the part. But Nicholas Hoult, though, I feel like might also be a sneakily good option as well. It's funny because he was actually the finalist alongside Robert Pattinson to play Batman.
Really?
in Matt Reeves's Batman movies. Yeah, so
I actually think that would work out well too.
Oh, for sure. So yeah, to see him finally, getting another opportunity to play another big DC character, I feel like would be a pretty cool thing. Now imagine, hear me out, but imagine they do what they say they're not going to do and have Matt Reeves Batman in the DCU, so we actually see them both interact. But probably not, though. Probably wouldn't happen. But
no, they'd ruin it. I'm just kidding.
But yeah, those
with James Gunn probably make it good. But
yeah, that's true. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know you guys probably haven't heard of the other actors aside from Nicholas Hoult, but do you guys have any thoughts about if any of those actors get cast as Superman?
Not really. I do think it should be like a up and comer or someone we haven't seen much of. But I do like Nicholas Hoult. Maybe Lex Luthor. I could see Lex Luthor.
Yeah. Guess we'll have to see. We'll have to see what. With that being said, a lot of people are saying that it's likely going to take up most of this year before they finalize the castings of like the main cast for the movie. So it might still be a while before we know for sure who's going to be playing these roles. But and I also wanted to bring up too, I forgot to include in your in the thing I sent you, but they also, I think it was the Hollywood Reporter, they gave like a short list of actresses who are said to be in the running to play Lois Lane. And those are right here. We got Imagine. We got Emma Mackey, Rachel Brosnahan, Phoebe Dynevor, however you say that, and Samara Weaving.
I know these people, definitely.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, it says
some of these words.
For those of you that have said or that have seen any of these things in the parentheses, those are, I guess, like the things that they're most well known for, like the things that they've been in. But I haven't really seen, like, apparently Brosnahan was in House of Cards. I don't know if any of you have seen that.
Oh, I have. I wonder who.
Let's see, anything else? I guess Samara Weaving was in the newest Scream movie, which I have yet to see, but I heard was actually pretty decent. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But
Yep. All right. Well, moving on to what I have here last.
yes.
Batman vs Superman VFX supervisor John Desjardins claims that the MPA originally refused to lower their R rating of the film simply because they didn't like the idea of Batman and Superman fighting each other.
Yeah,
That
so
sounds like some studio bullshit.
No, I saw this yesterday, and this was so wild that I had to include it to see what you guys thought, because he goes more into detail here if you guys for anyone that wants to pause or read his exact quotes. But he was like, hold on, let me find the important stuff. We got a note from them saying, well, as it pertains to the R rating, they asked why, like they gave him an R rating, and they essentially said, well, we just think that Batman's too mean to Superman.
Oh my god.
And then they asked for them to elaborate on that. And let's see, he said, I didn't think it was in their domain to not like the idea of them fighting, and so now it's true, they're not supposed to make decisions based off that. They were like, we think it's rude that they're fighting. And I said, quoting the guy, I'm sorry, it's in the title. And then they said, is there any way you can cut them fighting? How about they just team up and like each other? How about that? Maybe they argue in the first act, but then they shake hands.
Can't make movies
and they fight the bad guy together. Yeah, that is just, now again, you know, it's this guy, you know, it's not like he showed proof that this was the case, but if this is true, then that is pretty wild. That is, yeah.
Most picture association's a scam, anyways.
Well, yeah, that is true. Actually, you're not wrong there, but yeah, I just thought that was too crazy not to talk about in the podcast. But
that was insane.
Yeah.
Jesus. That's like what going to the first Guardians movie and be like, can they not guard the galaxy? Like, what do you mean not guard the galaxy? We just don't like that they guard the galaxy. Yeah. What if they just like help the whole universe? It's like, aren't you just supposed to see if there's a fuck in there somewhere and make it PG-13 or some shit? Like, what? Who are you?
Like,
some fucking dude behind a desk?
Imagine they're just like, what are you guys doing? They're all criminals. They can't be saving the galaxy too. This is not,
like, bro,
this is not realistic at all.
Find a new job. Cause this ain't it, Captain.
Yeah, that's just, I mean,
that's the definition of overstepping your boundaries.
Yeah.
Because, like, I agree there should be somewhere, but that's not even them, because that's the MPAA.
Right, yeah.
Whatever. that just made me mad.
I know. It's actually
Which makes
crazy.
me think it had something to do with how bad it was.
Right.
Which, well, it wasn't terrible.
No.
But, like, it wasn't good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just crazy. That's
like
all
the
you can
most
say.
Mid movie.
Yeah. I wonder too if like now that because this is like the first time that I've ever heard of like the MPA doing something like that. So I wonder if now like we might start to hear. I was gonna say like I wonder if like now we're about to start hearing of like some other examples of films that like something like that happened to. So
I believe it.
Yeah. Pretty crazy, but with that being said, there's really only one. There really wasn't a lot of like video game stuff that I saw. I thought it was worthy enough to go over it. Well, yeah, that was the one thing actually I was gonna bring up, but yeah, aside from Tears of the Kingdom dropping, what was it, this past weekend? There was
yesterday.
yesterday. Okay.
Or no.
Um,
What's today? Sunday? So Friday.
Yeah, Friday. Okay. But yeah, I didn't see any other video game stuff, at least that I thought you guys might be interested in talking about, unless you saw something that you wanted to bring up. But that was the fact that this game is
Nothing
now out
really.
was really the only thing that
Games.
I had up that I just wanted to briefly mention. But
It's really fun.
sheesh.
So there's that. I'll let you know when I beat it. Probably
Sounds
be a
good.
while.
Sounds good. Well, I guess before we wrap it up, do you have a Harry Potter fun fact you want to give us
I
before we
do. I don't know if y'all ready for this one.
I'm ready.
Oh, I actually have. Well, it's two. We'll see. We'll see how I feel after the first one. But did you know that the author of the Harry Potter series, J.K. Rowling,
Mhm.
and Harry Potter himself have the same birthday, June 31st.
I did not know that actually.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, that. Yeah, I mean that's a weird Harry Potter
mean,
fact.
I mean, no, it makes sense. I would have done the same thing honestly if I was writing it. Did you say you had another one or?
I had. It's something that like people know,
Okay.
but
I mean, you can
I'll say it
It's
anyways.
fine. It's fine.
Before they filmed the first Harry Potter movie, the only two people that knew about Snape's motivation and fate were J.K. Rowling and Alan Rickman.
Oh, I
Yeah,
actually didn't even know that either.
because the books
So
weren't
there you go.
finished yet. And
Oh, okay. Wait,
she
really?
told him, yeah.
Interesting.
She told him about like how Snape was motivated by the love for Lily, and that after all the hate that he's shown Harry, he inevitably was the one that guided him towards where he needed to be and been a sort of mentor in the shadows. But
Right.
he essentially is what saved his life.
Yeah. Yeah, quite
But, yeah.
literally by the end, but interesting. Well, there you have it. The Harry Potter fun fact of the day. Or of the podcast, I guess, but yeah, unless you guys
Oh, I do them every day just to myself. No.
Sheesh. Unless you guys have any other topics that you want to talk about quickly, I think that is going to conclude the podcast.
I can't sing that. Sorry.
Nah, I'm good.
Trying to get us copyright strike, dude? No, I'm just
No,
kidding.
I was
But
saying.
not kidding at the same time.
Yep.
Perfect. Good save. All right. Well, with that being said, that is a wrap for today's podcast. Imagine. I wish we had a sponsor, but nah, someday maybe. But yeah, the next podcast will be in 2 weeks, either on Sunday or Monday, Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications and you'll see whenever it's scheduled. But yeah, that's going to conclude things yet again. Thanks to everyone who's subscribed since the last podcast. I think there's been like 11 subscribers, I think, since the last podcast. But yeah, again, if you missed what I said at the start, our next goal for subscriber count is to hopefully hit 100 by at least the end of June. And once we do that, maybe we might have something special lined up. We'll see once we hit that milestone. But with that being said, everyone have a good one, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
See ya.